Hello and welcome to Nice and Blunt with guest Hoohames, our weekly show where we discuss a broader topic. And today our discussion is regarding the tight end position. But let's welcome our boy Hoohames back to the channel. How you doing, sir?
Oh, we're great. We just got done with a Who's Crew episode over on my channel. It was a good time.
Brew Crew knows ball. Brew Crew had some good
Yeah,
teams over there. I enjoyed it.
yeah, we had fun. And I'm ready for this conversation. I've had similar conversations this year, but the further we get in, the more your opinions change on things. Everything I said before, some of it is still relevant. Other things have changed. So
There's a few nuggets from training camp that might alter some of this, but I feel like of
yeah,
all positions, like maybe quarterback a little bit, but tight end is for the most part, you kind of already have your
I,
stances. At least you and I have been drafting for a while, so we have
well,
some players we like, some
yeah.
players we don't. It should be a fun discussion.
There's, there's a player we'll talk about, and we'll just like lead on the witness, I guess. But there's a player that I've been pretty out on all off season, and another player on the team is getting a lot of hints towards buzz right now, and it's one of those. I haven't been in on that player yet, but I've been wanting to be and not brave enough to click the button, and now I'm wishing I would have been clicking the button. So
I think I know who you're talking about, but let's save it.
yeah,
Let's save it for the
yeah,
moment. There are actually several players we see very differently on, whether it's just by a full tier, or sometimes two. But I do think we'll have some contradicting opinions, and
right.
or maybe some of my exposure to them would be like, shit, I mean, you catch up on that guy, or vice versa. But it should be fun. We got Bukowski in here. Here's for the goddamn cat. I've calmed her nervous system today. She's been a little bit cranky lately, but today she's been a lot more calm, and so hopefully we don't have too many meows in the background. But I'm sure she'll make at least one appearance. But
Good old Leia.
yeah, she needs some attention. But I think we're ready to go. If anyone hasn't subscribed to Hoohames yet, we got the link to his channel down below, and definitely subscribe over there. An awesome time whenever Hoohames goes live, whenever he has content, always priority viewing. So we're gonna get going, and if you're enjoying the content throughout, hit that like button, subscribe here as well. Really appreciate it. But let's get it going. I'm gonna set this up and then join me here. All right, here's our tier list, our tier breakdown. We got 5 real tiers and then one that kind of just doesn't quite qualify. I put darts in white because it's kind of neutral. A lot of these guys are going undrafted, so those guys will just be in their own tier. But otherwise, the players that are being drafted are going to be sorted on how much we like their ADP, how much we think that pick is either a smash, a good pick, a fair click, a shaky decision, or just straight up bad. I think as we get through these tiers, there's going to be fewer in the top and maybe more as we go down. But is there anything you want to just preface this before we get going, Hoohames?
Yeah. So most of the dart ones are people that we don't mind, but they go so late that they can't be a bad pick. Maybe they are. I guess if you're taking Tanner Koziel, somebody told me they took earlier today. I think that's a bad pick. I think but if you scroll too deep, it's always a bad pick. But we're talking the darts, and I'll just kind of throw one of them out there right now. But Michael Mayer, right? Like I consider that a dart. Maybe some people think it's a good pick. But that's one of them that we'll discuss that its ADP is under 213 basically. So
Yeah, those guys that technically go undrafted, you
yeah,
get that unique aspect of you might be the only person in the finals with this player, so that makes it a little bit more interesting. But it might
yeah,
just be a complete zero and complete waste of your
right.
time.
But
As
that making
yeah,
that click. So
that's what makes it fun.
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, we're discussing tight ends only. Dulcich will be a part of the discussion. We'll get to him. We're gonna go sorted by ADP, and I'm not sure if Noah Fant made the cut, but gentlemen, what's up, JT? We got who is Theo Johnson, Alan. Theo's gonna have a very interesting talking point when we get to Theo, but that's pretty late. We got Goofy Chicken in the house. What's up, brother? Thank you for popping in, and then Jamie as well. Thank you for everyone who's in the chat. and joining us. But I think it's time to get it going. We're going to start by ADP, like I said. And first up is Brock Bowers. I'll let you have the floor. What tier would you like to place Brock Bowers in?
I have him in good. I really, really like the pick. I am overweight Brock Bowers, but it's really hard to say any pick in the middle of round 2 is an absolute smash. Like it's just hard to say that. Now, could he be basically what JSN was last year? Maybe. Like we could see that. And at the end of the year, it could be that it's a smash pick. But we are also doing all this based on underdog scoring, which is half point PPR, which does make the Bowers pick like not like on DraftKings. I think there's an argument that he could be in the smash tier, but like we got him, he's getting Clint Kubiak this year, who used the JSN thing as a comparison because that's the OC that used him last year. He is the clear number 1 target in the offense. Now the offense may not be great, but he is going to be the clear number 1 pass target. So I think he's a very good pick with a good upside. I think there's a very little like bottom floor. He averaged 11.6 fantasy points a game last year and half point, I believe. And it was let me see. 11.85.
Yeah. 11.8.
11.85 to be exact. But he played with an injury that they told him he wasn't going to be healthy for 3 full games and ruined a lot of teams a lot of weeks by doing that. And he came back from that and had a 40-point game. So, like, and that was on an unfunctional offense. Like, that offense didn't function. Their offensive line was unhealthy and didn't know the blocking assignments because Chip Kelly was calling plays that they didn't even install in the offense. So, like, it's going to get better. I think he's just a flat good pick. I don't know where you land.
No, I have him. This is actually one of the players. You sent me your list, and I had my list, and I set up composite ranking just to compare. And we actually see basically eye to eye on Bowers in terms of like true rankings on this list. I had him at 8. You had him at 9. We both had him in the good tier. And I think the only dilemma is like, I wish it was the 3rd. It would feel so much better in the 3rd. But the nature of round 2, you know, those running backs are so valuable. Once they're off the board, it feels like Bowers is one of like the true unique pieces that allows you to just really be flexible throughout the rest of the draft. And like, if there's one guy we might be drafting in the first round next year, it's probably Brock Bowers. So there is still some room for upside. I fully agree with you. Yeah. He's very much in this good pick tier. There's never an issue when I have Brock Bowers. If I reach on him, I still don't hate it that much. But there's nothing bad about it.
Yeah, and to Austin saying he's a smash regardless. Like, I don't necessarily disagree. It's more of a like to be a smash pick. I think you need to be X amount over your ADP value or whatever. And so in the Poodle, which is a 20 max, I took 14 shares of Brock Bowers. I put him at my 112, and every time I basically was at pick 4 or later, I got him in round 2, and I went from 9% to 15% Brock Bowers in that contest for over the course of all of Underdog. So like I picked the contest and like just made that my Bowers contest, and I don't regret it. I think that he absolutely could be like the had to have it play, and he has a pretty solid playoff schedule too.
Yeah, he's pretty locked in. It's kind of just like, will he stay healthy this year? As long as he does, he's going to be back in elite status. And I think for like dynasty purposes, he's very clearly locked in as 10.
Dynasty is so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
This one was easy. We're in agreement. Real quick, Jamie asking a very valid question. I would love to have more graphics. I'm learning how to do this in OBS on the fly. So at the moment, I only have players' pictures, but I'll be a little bit more clear on who this is verbally as we move through it. Appreciate the commentary, Jamie. But Alfred still thinks Taysom signs in Denver. That'd be interesting. But Raiders' points per game last year was so crazy low, dude. The touchdowns are only going up. Targets, he still finished amazingly. The fact that they're not bringing in another receiver and like talking themselves out, it sounds like of like a veteran like Diggs or someone. That's just only better news for Brock Bowers.
Yeah, like they've literally been like, yeah, we're not interested. Like just flat out, we're not interested. All
Well,
right.
very safe pick. This one's interesting. We're moving on now to Trey McBride of the Arizona Cardinals, and his ADP is in the third round. To be precise, it would be tight end. Which one is it? Where do I have it?
It's tight end 2 overall.
Tight end 2 at 28.5. 28.5. Yeah, tight end 2 at 28.5. I consider him, we'll just go back and forth. I think he's a very shaky pick. I think he is like not ever a pick I'm happy with at cost. I think the only times I'm interested in was he falls like past pick 30. And even then, I'm still kind of like, I think I'd rather have Colston Loveland even like reached in the next round sometimes. Like I really don't feel great about Trey McBride. And so I would like to place him in the shaky tier. What say you?
That's where I have him too. I will say that the further he's been moving further and further back, and the closer he gets to the like 32, 33 range, I think I still like I'm with you on the Loveland thing, but like I I might move him up to the fair tier if his ADP becomes like 33, 34. And he has been moving down there. So like I had him in the bad tier last week, but he has been falling. So I actually moved him up this week to the shaky tier. So he's actually moving up because his ADP is moving down right now. So like if he continues to fall, I probably going to end up with a little bit more than I was hoping to.
I agree. If his ADP is consistently in the early 30s and closer to that bookend, that 3-4 turn, I agree. I'll be taking more of him as well. But right now I have like 2.5%.
Yeah,
it's not a click I enjoy making. I'm never really excited to do it. And there's a lot of receivers there I just trust more. So I'm not really excited about it. I think we both agree. But if it continues to fall, then yeah, it would be more appropriate if it was closer to like pick 40.
I mean, he's definitely shaky right now. Basically I think I've had him rated at 32 the entire offseason. And I have more. I have 3.7%. I did not think I was going to be there. Like I did not think I was going to be close to 4%, which means I need to take less. Means I've been making the click more than I want to. So
he has been falling a lot more. So I think maybe that's where it's starting to come into play. But I'm still like, unless that's round 4, I'm not dying to press it. I've just only kind of done it for like, all right, let's try this time. But like, very few times have I even like reviewed somebody else's team during the stream and like something's off about this one. And then you see McBride at the bottom. You're like, oh yeah, this is a McBride team. It fucks with your whole roster. And I just can't envision he scores the same amount of touchdowns last year. Like he was overwhelmingly tight end 1. Like you mentioned Bowers less than 12 points per game. Well, McBride averaged 14.9. Like McBride was 3 full points per game better than Bowers on a per game basis. There's just no way I see that repeating because 11 touchdowns feels impossible for him.
Well, so and part of my thesis on this, and I could be wrong because I think that they went into this offseason like we can't have 0 running backs. So they signed Algier, they re-signed Connor. Connor might be healthy again. And then they drafted Jeremiah Love with the 3rd overall pick. So I think if nothing else, they're going to just bleed out the clock early in games. And I've said this for a while. I think that they're going to try to not be down 20 points at halftime every game and have to throw the ball 40 plus times. Like I think they're okay losing games, but they want to lose these games. Like they want to be down by 7 at halftime instead of 17.
Yeah.
I that's going to murder his exposure or his thing.
Plus, a lot of his production came once Harrison went down. Like the 3-man receiver room is much different than the equation was last year when, like, at the beginning, they had no faith in Michael Wilson. Now, not only do they kind of trust him a little bit, but, like, they still have to see what they have in MHJ. And then, like you mentioned, now there's some of the most depth at running back in the league compared to last season with just Michael Carter pretty much. So, like, if James Conner factors in at all, then like I could see them being very heavy running back usage on the goal line. So the volume's got to come down. The touchdowns have to come down. And like, he wasn't like crushing it from a yards per touch standpoint. Like he had 126 catches, less than 10 yards per reception. That's not the most exciting aspect
And
you could
let's be
think of.
honest, like the news that they may want to like, and I think it's all trade, like them trying to trade James Conner, but them wanting to use all the running backs and all of that stuff, like that kind of goes with my thesis. But it also means that they're probably going to be doing that a little more on the goal line. It also means that they're going to run the ball a lot more in general, which is less targets for McBride overall. I don't think that part is false. And you're soothing sound saying, don't understand how McBride can be shaky and Bauer's good. And it's because of offensive situation. Like the offense, like we also were getting Carson Beck at the end of the season. Like I think they've did everything. The Jacoby did resign, but it was like 15.5 guaranteed with incentives for like an extra 5 million. Do you think they're really going to allow him to make that extra 5 million? Like to me, that's a clear, hey, we're going to bench this guy at X point to make sure he doesn't get these things. And like, if you like Carson Beck as a prospect, you're going to like Trey McBride bet a little more for the underdog style or the playoffs scenario kind of stuff. I have a bunch of Carson Beck in Superflex, but it was a cost thing and not a talent thing.
Yeah, the quarterback situation is also a very, very valid aspect of this too, where I'm forgetting where it was here. Steven, he said, I think Bowers will do better with the Cousins over Mendoza. Probably, but I don't think the difference is going to be the same drop off like you would expect from Brissett down to Carson Beck or even Gardner Minshew. There's really no guarantee with anything in Arizona. So I fully agree. I think McBride is just not as clear of like a guaranteed bet. And last year just feels like such an outlier. It's very hard for him to repeat that. And the circumstances just impact his target share where he's just not as safe.
No. And then give me Clint Kubiak 10 times over Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah. Definitely. Very clear major red flag there. But your soothing sound thinks we're a little too low. We might be, but what's your true exposure on McBride? You said it's like 3.5.
It was 3.7, which I was surprised.
Okay,
it is a scary fade. It's a scary fade. Like
if we were in full PPR, I don't think I would have the same stance. But in half PPR, it's just not. I just can't trust those touchdowns the same.
I actually on DraftKings in full PPR got 4%. So, like I'm slightly higher, but not much.
Yeah, no. In on drafters, I'm much more inclined to take him in the third. Yeah. I think in full PPR, he's a much better pick in the third. But I just don't see it as much in half PPR. But we're pretty much in lockstep on those two. So this one, I think we agree as well. The only discrepancy on this is that you didn't have him number one overall, but we are both very.
Did that surprise you?
I did. I was a little bit surprised. So,
So
this is a smash. Colston Loveland is a fucking smash. Do you trust any receiver in that offense more than him? You've been the Colston Loveland bull from back in February.
Yeah, I've been saying the same thing. So there was this last month, I noticed Loveland was falling in draft, so I moved him down in my ranks to try to get him back around in the 5th round. I got several of those teams. Now the new crowd is back in, and they're like, I love Loveland. So I moved him all the way back up to pick 39. Okay. I was doing it because whenever I see a market inefficiency like that, like I want to take advantage of that. So I'll give up some picks because I'm drafting close to 1,000 teams this year. So like I can afford to do that to get the one team that tries to win it all. Right. So Loveland, they're a run first team, which a lot of people I don't think realize, and they're going to have 2 tight ends on the field a lot. I think they were number 6 last year in 12 personnel overall. So that means Cole Kmet's going to be on the field too, but they drafted him higher than Luther Burden, number 1. And number 2, like Rome, while healthy, was outperforming Luther Burden. And Colston Loveland, whenever he come in, like I don't think people remember he was hurt when they drafted him, and it took him multiple weeks to really get comfortable with that offense. Everybody remembers that about Luther Burden, but Luther Burden, like, he wasn't hurt. He was just getting beat out by Olamide Zacchaeus. He, and Loveland was actually hurt. And whenever he finally got the reins, he just absolutely smashed. Like, I think it was like 8, 12, and 15 targets down the stretch. Like he
Yeah,
is
so
just
in week 17, he had 10 targets, and then 13 in week 18, both of those games with 90 plus yards and a touchdown. And then in the playoffs, he was just like the go-to target every single
yeah,
time.
he had
He
two
was
games
crushing.
like yeah. So like that, like he is my number 2 overall like person on this list of value at tight end. And there's a reason why I don't have him at 1. We'll get into that eventually. But
Yeah, please.
I think that the top 2 are clearly ahead of the rest, is kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, they do feel like if you are going to go with the attempt at elite and try to get value, Loveland is, especially when you get him to fall in the 5th. Like that's been the only reason I agree with you where I'm not hammering him in the 4th, because it's like, well, I've seen a lot of teams get him in the 5th. And so like pushing this is totally worth it. But there's a slight rumor that Keenan goes back to the Bears. That would not impact Loveland whatsoever. Like, I don't think the tight end value changes at all. Whereas, like, it might change the receiver value. It's kind of in the back of my mind. I still kind of just assess the Bears the same way. But, like, the draft capital alone is, I think, all I need to know. And, like, for them to draft 2 receivers last year as rookies in rounds 1 and 2 kind of speaks to how they didn't really believe in, like, DJ Moore. And even to an extent, Rome Odunze, but like, give me the round 1 young tight end with the ability to give me like 15 catches and just be like a true unguardable matchup. I think he has, other than Bowers, I would say the highest dynasty appeal.
Yeah, like between him, Rome, and Luther, who do you think is going to be the red zone target when they're in 12 personnel in the red zone? It's going to be Loveland. Like,
yeah,
I've already betted a couple times. I'm slotting in Loveland for like 10 plus touchdowns. Like, I feel very good about that.
I would do that too. I think that's his floor. It's kind of like the Lions where like Laporta's rookie year, everyone just had 10 touchdowns, him included.
Yeah. So I get like the McBride should be number 1. Like, yeah, but we're not talking PPR, Quincy. We started the show off saying it's half point PPR. So like you gotta like in full PPR, McBride is a better pick, but I still like Loveland more at value.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna mention why McBride might be better than Bowers in a round later, like then the extra round discount on Loveland factors in too. Like it's all relative, but like to be able to set up sometimes 4 really solid picks before you even take the elite tight end, that is such a good price. We were basically in lockstep. I had him as number 1 overall. You had him as number 2. And then we do differ significantly on your number 1, but we'll get to him later.
Yeah.
Is there some more stuff on Loveland you want to mention?
No, I'm good. I've talked Loveland a lot. I'm just very in. Like, I want to be on Bears pieces. I think the safest Bears piece is Colston Loveland. I'm over trying to get extra pieces. Like, man, everybody I love at ADP, they're all like round 4 picks, like all of them. Like Waddle, Scatabo, him. Like, I really like the Terry McLaurin price. Like, I just all of these prices I just absolutely love in round 4.
Yeah, the players in the top 60 feel like if you could find a way to scatter them down the board just a little bit, you'd have such strong pieces, but you can only pick 1 in each round. That's kind of the only thing that's frustrating about it. And it's why McBride and Bowers can't really be in the smash territory because of how just expensive they are and the other guys you have to pass up on. So ADP value is kind of driving our opinions here, but I think we're just in lockstep on that one. We can probably just move on.
Absolutely.
Tight end 4 would be Tyler Warren with an ADP of, I believe it is 65. 65 is his ADP. So right in the middle of the 6th round. I often take him at the top of the 6th, sometimes even over BTJ. I've seen him starting to go in the 5th myself. And personally, he is actually my number 2 value on the board. I have him in the
Oh,
smash territory. So we see this a little bit differently, but
I
I want to put Warren up here. You have him a little bit lower. You have him 10th overall. You have him in the good tier. So talk me down a little bit, Hoohames. Why
I
am I a little too high on Tyler Warren?
I don't know that you are. It's more that I like some of the values down the board a lot. The problem with Tyler Warren is more it's not a him price.
The quarterbacks?
It's the quarterbacks in that range. Like that's but if Alec Pierce misses time, he's going to start off hot. Daniel Jones is ready for camp. So like there's that. Last year he actually didn't run like incredibly well. He he had so many games that he should have really smashed. But Jonathan Taylor was so efficient that he just kept breaking big runs. And I think that really hurt Tyler Warren as a fantasy pick. And I think there's a little bit of like worry there to where if the offense is actually going again, like it's going to be a little harder for him to really pay off because Taylor's just ripping off big runs over and over again. Uh, so like, but is that really that bad that the offense scored a bunch of points? Probably not. You know, like I have him one spot behind Bowers. I don't know that I'm necessarily right there. I could definitely see myself. I could be talked up to like the top of good or the bottom of smash. I think he's a very good pick, and I like him way more. Once Cardinal Tate's off the board, he's the next skill player that I like.
I think that's a very fair ranking on him. I think that's totally appropriate. And I think some of the quarterbacks in round 6 are so valuable that it is hard to pass. But sometimes you don't always have the
Yeah.
stack set up. And then there's also some quarterbacks in round 6 I think are a little bit overpriced, most notably like Joe Burrow, I believe
Yeah,
has an ADP like one spot above him, if not like they're right back to back. If I don't have T. Higgins, it is so obviously Tyler Warren over Joe Burrow for me. I think maybe just because how much I love Justin Herbert, but I'm always like, I can still get a quarterback I like later on. I'm not going to be dead in the water, but I know exactly what I'm getting from Warren. The volume is going to be there. He's like so clearly their number 1 target. And I think when you look at his numbers last year, like after the bye, it wasn't very exciting. He maxed out at 9.7 and had a lot of weeks with like less than even 5 points after the bye. But that all correlated with Daniel Jones' injury. When I look at his stat lines before the bye, when Daniel Jones was humming, it's really impressive. The floor is just so locked in. Like week 1 of
it
his
is.
career, 7 catches, 76 yards, then 4 for 79, 3 for 38, 5 for 70 again, 4 for 44 and a touchdown, 6 for 63 and a touchdown, 4 for 69 and a touchdown, 53 yards, 29 yards, and then 99 yards in that Germany game. I just know what I'm getting, and I kind of throw out the bad games after the bye because very few of them involve Daniel Jones. And like you said, we get Daniel Jones healthy back again. I'm going to be optimistic he just stays on the field. But then you also factor in Michael Pittman leaving and the Alec Pierce injury, the lack of like, true athleticism from Josh Downs. Like he's a great talent. He can run routes really sharp and crisp, but matchup wise, who's going to get open when they're getting pressed, when it's really like the nitty gritty time? I think Tyler Warren's just going to be that safety valve. He had 112 targets last year. I think that's going up to like 135, 130 minimum. And I just feel so good about it. I'm going to lobby to put him in the smash tier at the end, not
Yeah,
not up at the top, but I would put him one
like I said,
tier above.
I'm pretty okay with the top of good or the bottom of smash. I think he's a really good price. Like I do, and I do think like contest dependent. Like for eliminator, I think he's an amazing pick. Like
Yeah.
my problem with him is, and I mean, it was only one season, and Jonathan Taylor was doing what Jonathan Taylor was doing, but I we didn't see him ever have the big game. He had a lot of really good games, but he never had the "I'm going to beat you" kind of game, and he never really looked like he was going to. Because I watched like every game when he was smashing, and there were times that he looked really, really good, but for whatever reason, the offense stopped going away from him. And maybe that's something they correct this year. Like that, he was definitely able to do it based on like just watching him play and how he would separate and in the end zone and stuff. Like, but it just never really happened. And I know this because I was overweight him every single week in daily because he was so good so early.
Yeah.
And like it's not a me hating on him because of that. It's more that the values around him. And I mean maybe that's could be an argument to ding Loveland some as well. But no, I think I'm cool putting him in smash tier, like at the back end.
For the sake of the composite ranks that I compiled, our average would have him here towards the back end of the smash. So just a little bit on the fence, perhaps. And I do acknowledge, like, there was a little bit left to be desired. Like, I remember, I think I was, like, playing golf, like, week 5, and a random, like, pairing, was with me and my friend Angus. And we ended up talking about fantasy football, and we were, like, on the 8th hole, and this guy that I never met just went on this, like, minute tirade about how frustrated he was that Tyler Warren could not find the end zone. And he was just so livid. And like he only had 4 touchdowns last year. That is also relevant. But I'm willing to kind of excuse the rookie season, the Daniel Jones injury. But Jones could still get injured again. That's also possible. It wouldn't shock me at all. And this feels like a Shane Steichen hot seat type of year. I think he'll lean into his best weapon, but that might just be Jonathan Taylor at a rate that, like you said, caps some of the upside on Warren. But he also had 6 rush attempts, 1 rushing touchdown, so 5 touchdowns total. That is something.
With like on the bull case as well, like their defense isn't supposed to be very good next year, so they may be behind and throwing a little more often as well, which will push those targets up and will give him more options in the red zone of getting targets. Because if they're behind, they're probably running less, so they're probably like JT probably isn't breaking off the big runs as often.
JT's still probably going to crush, but I think that one was a compromise. I will compromise a bit more on one of your tiers on the next one.
Yeah, I mean, no, like I think that basically after Loveland, all the way down to the bottom of my good tier it's like I had a hard time separating out the smash and the good tier, to be honest.
Yeah,
like that's kind of where I was.
Much. It's kind of just like so good that maybe your exposure is higher, but also like I think what my tiebreaker ended up being is like how likely do I think this team is to advance if you have this player on your team? Whereas like maybe I have a lot more exposure to like someone in round 13, but I would much rather have a Tyler Warren or a Loveland just to know about that advance potential and like winning in the final week. I'd rather trust one of those elite ones a little bit more of the time. But Austin pushing back thinks he's more of a fair option. And this is meant to be a discussion. It's meant to have some difference of opinions. It's fine if anyone in the chat disagrees with us, and your list's going to be different than ours. But for the most part, these guys are all fairly good picks. But Petey, bringing up your boy, I think we can move on to tight end 5. Kraft. You are in on Kraft, bro. You are in.
Yeah, no, I am. He's my number 1 value on the board at tight end. So number 1, there's a lot of reasons here. Number 1, he was the focal point of the offense when he was healthy, even when Christian Watson came back. And he was smashing. Like, I mean, if you want to say he's injury prone, whatever, but like the man it was like an insane yards per route run last year. Let me look it up. But like, so he's so good after the catch. Like he just is. And they get him out in space. That defense is going to be horrible to start the season with Micah Parsons out. They're going to be behind a lot. They're going to get into the passing game. They're going to realize that their passing game is really good, and they're going to continue to pass it all season. This is how I feel the season is going to go. And if they pass all season, if they never really get into the run game, plus we still don't know if Josh Jacobs is going to get suspended. They haven't said anything. Like they've said that they don't know yet. Kraft is supposed to play week 1, supposedly at the moment. He didn't get put on PUP, so there's that.
I expect him to.
And like every sign has been, like a month ago, there was like he was out there running around. So like full sprints and stuff. So I assume he's very good. Like in preseason, like in January 28th, whenever I did my very initial rankings, I was assuming he'd be healthy. I actually had Tucker Kraft rated as my tight end 3 over Loveland without ADP baked in. So this is just a full, I believe in this player. I believe in the situation that he's going to be in. Like their offense will absolutely cook if they go to throwing the ball a lot. And I don't think they're going to be a good team. And the middle of the pack teams, like the Bucks were 2 years ago, that get behind a lot and throw the ball a lot, have a lot of fantasy weapons come out of it. And that's where I think he is. And it is a risky pick. It is a risky pick. But he's also the pick that could be the best pick on the board. Like both of those are there. But I think it's a smash because even if his touchdowns regress, like he was averaging, like what do he have? He was averaging like
12.7 points per game, more than George Kittle, more than Brock Bowers, more than Dallas Goedert, only behind Trey McBride, second in points per game, 12.7.
I have this. Yeah, so in 8 games, he had 6 touchdowns. Let's say that halves, and he goes to 3, and he gets 6 touchdowns on the year, but he keeps the yardage. He was on pace for 900 yards and 60 receptions.
No, he was on pace for 1,000 yards. Like he had 489 in 8 games, so that's basically 500 in less than half of the season. So,
I rounded down since we're being haters.
Yeah.
That's 60 receptions, 900 yards, and still 6 touchdowns. Like that's a lot of fantasy points at tight end. We're getting this in round 8. Give me that. Like, and that's if he's healthy and plays at half the level he was last year.
I wanted to put him at the top of good above Brock Bowers, like literally my top of tier 2. But the more I think about it, and especially like the points per game last year, I don't believe that they actually just trust Jaden Reed that much or Matthew Golden that much. Like, I want to believe that Golden takes another step. I like to believe that Christian Watson will stay healthy, but I think what they saw to Kraft last year was the confirmation that they needed, that they have their alpha and they don't need all these extra receivers. So I will gladly keep him in the smash tier, but I will say I started him a little bit closer to the top of the good tier. But like we were saying, there's not that much between the two. I feel great about my team, though, if I have Kraft. And the one thing I don't love about the Packers, especially in like best ball, is that week 17 Houston matchup. That doesn't scare me anywhere near as much for the tight end position. Like, that's one reason not to draft Watson maybe, but Kraft can figure it out. Kraft's going to be just fine. It's just a matter of health. So the health is really the only reason to be worried.
Yeah, there are some like little other things like LaFleur does tend to do these weird like run the ball into the ground for no reason. They play down to competition all the time in Green Bay. So like if there gets a bad team, they don't punish them. But like the fans were pretty upset about that last year and pretty vocal about it. I don't think that's going to happen again this year to the same degree it did last year. And if they put their foot on the gas at all this year, like Tucker Kraft and Watson and Jaden Reed and Golden, at least 2 of those are going to be smashes. And I think the offense is going to run through Kraft, just like I believe the Bears are going to run through Loveland.
I agree with your second point. I still have reservations about Jordan Love, though. Jordan Love cannot just be consistent enough to convince me that you get all like, every quarterback has a bad game every now and then, but like to expect like 13 really productive games from Jordan Love, I think is asking too much. He'll splash every now and then, but like he just doesn't give me the confidence that every week in, week out, I'm getting like a crack at 300 yards. Like if he can get away with just 225, that'll be fine if they can get the win. Like you were saying, they play down to competition, but their
Yeah.
defense just isn't going to be good enough this year to get away with that as often.
Yeah, and like Kraft wasn't even getting touchdowns in the red zone. He was running them in from away. Like I'm looking at it right now. His end zone target, he had only 2 end zone targets, and he had 2 touchdowns on it out of the 6 touchdowns. So, like, that's something like he ran. Like I remember multiple that he just took and ran from like 30 yards out, 40
No,
yards
yeah,
out.
he was crazy. Like he can give you like a 40-yard reception from anywhere, and
Yeah.
he had 2 games with over 124 yards last season in
Yeah.
only like 7 full weeks. Like insane production profile out of him
And
last
and
season.
low key, that division has bad defenses. So you're going to get
Yeah.
5 games versus pretty bad defenses. Minnesota, their defense is like super hit or miss. They're either Flores is on one and the other team can't do anything, or he's on one and trying things and the other team figured it out and they give up a bunch of points. Like it's one or the other.
Yeah,
So
he was either like limited to like 20 yards or less, or he was just crushing
yeah,
and like easily finding the end zone. So it might be a bit of an all or nothing bet at times, but like in best ball, that's what I want. I need
Yeah.
the player that can crack 20, and there's not that many of them that can do it as often as like expected as Kraft. So I think he's very clearly the tight end 5 in the ranks. I could see him be more valuable than Tyler Warren. Even Loveland in like a perfect scenario, like if the touchdowns don't change at all, he was last year. He was the tight end 2 last year. So I think it's a very fair ranking here to keep him in
Yeah.
smack.
I think I'm fine if you want to move him down. I know where I have him. I think
you're right. I think
my
you're right.
ranking right now, I have him at 70. Like I have him 13 picks ahead of ADP or whatever. And like I take him at the 6-7 turn constantly because like that turn feels gross. Like I'm not into QJ like you are, but like it's QJ, DK Metcalf, Tucker Kraft. It's
I'm
like
not that into it, man. I want it with Herbert, and that's it. But
yeah, I like
very fair. Yeah, no.
But
compared to Parker Washington, give me Kraft.
Right, and like those are the people you're taking in that range. And what's funny is the reason that happens. The only difference between Tyler Warren and Tucker Kraft in the ADP in what I do is the quarterbacks. And
yeah,
so I actually had Kraft ranked straight up ahead of Warren, like in my true ranks before the season.
Okay.
Or before we got a lot of news. And I've walked that back. Like I've walked that back.
You have to factor in ADP. You can't have a 30
exactly.
exposure to Tucker Kraft or
Tyler
even higher than that.
Tyler Warren's ADP is 64 and Tucker Kraft's is 82. So it's an 18 pick difference. So if I think they're somewhat close, like one of them's an absolute smash. And that's just where I'm at with it.
Well, the round 7 onesie, I think, is way more valuable than the other regular positions. So I think that's a very, very valid call. And I just take so much Justin Herbert. I think that's the only reason why I'm a little bit lower.
He is a onesie.
Yeah, that's the onesie I need. It makes me feel a bit more warm and fuzzy inside.
Right.
But Kraft is also very, very valid. All right, I think we're in agreement there. I'm a little bit lower than you were, but honestly, you made me realize I might be a little too low. I kind of want to catch up with some of my exposure to Kraft. But the main reason why is because this next player I think is so valuable and goes also significantly cheaper. Sam Laporta is our tight end 6, and you are the lower ranker by this was actually a 2-tier difference. I had him at the end of the smash tier. You had him in fair. I believe he is at worst a good pick. I think the Lions offense is set to explode in the passing game by losing David Montgomery. I think that there's more touchdowns available. The signing of Drew Petzing really makes me confident about how the tight end gets used. And going back to his rookie season, like 10 touchdowns that first season, we drafted him as high as like the top tight end, very early on. He still has that upside. And last year he just dominated until he got injured. It wasn't as good as Kraft, I'll give you that, but it was still fantastic. And all systems go at the moment. He's ready for camp. He's healthy. I really love Sam Laporta, so I'm gonna lobby for him at least in the good tier. Tell me why you think it's more of just a fair selection, though.
Well, so number one, tight ends all the way down the board are mispriced.
Fair.
So I'm looking at this as like in comparison to the other prices, like in comparison to the Tyler Warren price, I think he's more of a fair price. In comparison to Loveland, I think he's more of a fair price. In comparison to all these guys, like I like it more than the McBride price, obviously, but I think there are just like I take them a lot. I really do. I like the pick. And the fair ones are the ones that's like, if he's near the top of ADP, I'll pull him up a couple spots. I'll take him. It's fine. I'm not actively going out and looking for him. And so the Lions offense really took off last year when JMO like really took off, which was after Laporta got hurt. And that was when Dan Campbell really took over the play calling. So will it change or not? He's also, as we've been talking about with everybody else, like he's coming off of an injury. And I'm not worried about it. Like I don't think it's that big of a deal. But they have so many players, like all of their players are going to score a lot of points. All their players are well priced. I just don't know that it's like a smash pick. Like because like unless Goff throws for 35 to 40 touchdowns, like how is he going to spread out enough to Gibbs is going to get 4 or 5 in the air. Amon-Ra gets 11 every year. J-Mo is going to get 6. So that right there is
that's only 21 right there.
That's 21. Pacheco's going to get 42. No.
Yeah. No, Pacheco's a huge problem.
Yeah, Pacheco. No, like Tesla's going to get like 5 or 6. So like I mean, so
I hear
like
you.
That leaves like 8 or 9, and like 8 or 9's good. Like that's good. Don't get me wrong. But like that's with like median projections on these guys, and that's assuming health on a player who's like didn't he battle something like early on, like first year or 2 or something, kind of like crap. Like they both kind of have similar profiles on that.
He's been a bit more banged up than I would like.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's been, crushing since his rookie. He has regressed year over year, but I'm willing to kind of just like believe in the system. Last year he was tight end 7 in points per game. He goes as tight end 6. And I do kind of believe that like he will take some leaps. I just think the volume in the passing game will increase and go back to him. Like you were saying, like it took him going down for J-Mo to really crush. I will play devil's advocate though, and just be completely honest with you. I think his price in pre-draft was a locked-in smash.
Yes.
I had about 15% back then, and it was a full round later than it is right now. Like in pre-draft, he was going like 106, 105 off the board. Right now, his ADP is 94.7, and I will be completely honest with you, Hoohames. I have 7% Laporta in the regular season. I had double in the pre-draft. So it's not the same smash that it was, but if you told me he doesn't get hurt, if you told me I need someone that can put up tight end 1 numbers in the final, in week 17, one of those names that I want to take a swing with is Sam Laporta. I trust him a lot, and I do believe he will look a little bit more McBride-esque because of the Drew Petzing change to play caller. Like if it was still Dan Campbell, then I think all of the last year would be pretty much safe to bet on again. But I look at Petzing and the way he used McBride. I think Laporta is going to take a bit more of a step this year in terms of volume.
I'm not a believer in Petzing, so there's that. I do get that he's did well with tight ends, but I mean, he had Zach Ertz and Trey McBride.
Well, Laporta's pretty fucking good. I don't know if Laporta's exactly as good as McBride, but Laporta's on par.
What I'm saying is like it's easy to look good with I'm not saying that like he's going to turn him into nothing, but to be a tight end whisperer when you had an elite, like is that fair? Like,
I guess that's where I consider Laporta still one of those elites. That's
I
where
mean,
like
he
the
could
fall
be.
off I just don't see being
So
that significant.
so
It's
he
crowded
had
though. There's
in
other
9
targets.
games he had close to the same amount of yards as Kraft, but half the touchdowns, which is
Touchdowns
which
can change year over
yeah,
year,
which is
but yeah.
which is bullish. Like I'm not gonna lie. So basically, this rank, like I said, a lot of the I didn't want all of my picks to be the top 10, like because I like the top a lot this year, but I do think there's values late, like some really
Yeah.
good values late, and you have to knock some people down to move other people up. And
Right.
Laporta was just happened to be one of those that like I inched down a little bit here and there. Like I think that putting him in the good tier, even the smash tier, like I understand it. I just think that he's one of those guys that I don't see him having wide or tight end 1 overall upside. I think he could be a tight end top 3, which is a smash for his. Like I think in a really good season, he's like tight end 3, and that's awesome for his price. But I think that I don't. I think he's like the first one that doesn't truly have like tight end 1 overall upside.
Probably not. Probably not true
Like
tight end
so,
one. But if you told me he was like tight end 3, tight end 4, I could totally see it. I think he can get there with touchdowns, but
he
I
might.
hear your point. And like I was saying, it was way better
Oh
back in
yeah,
pre-draft around
I
cheaper.
I mean I'm overweight. I'm overweight at Laporta, so like I like the price, and that's why I have it in fair. Like I mean move him up to good. Like, we're fine. Like we're
I think either last in the good tier or
yeah.
top of fair. But
And like, I mean, maybe some of the players that I think are really good picks, you don't like that are later down the board. Like some of these players that I moved up ahead, there are 2 of them I could see, the 3 of them I could see you argue on for sure. Maybe my number 4 overall. I know you don't like my number 3 overall, but so
um, there's a few players I think you are a little bit higher on than I am, and then there's some players that were just like
I'm
really off
I'm
base.
way
But
more like less worried about risk
gotcha. Well, I
on
think
these.
if you want to put him at the end of good, I think we're in
Yeah.
pretty much lockstep there. So we can
Yeah,
probably just
like
move on.
it's one of those like I think that as we go through it, like I just kept inching him down a little bit. Like, and it's not that I dislike
Yeah.
him. When I'm on the clock and he's there, like I do like him around the people that go around him. So like I think I'm like 11%. So it's not a knock on him at all. Like
I
I think the tight ends throughout the course of this, I've said it before, I think that their prices are wrong all the way through the ADP. I don't mind like building these weird teams that nobody else is wanting to do to where I go like Kraft, Laporta, and then still tack on Juwan Johnson because I think that gives you a really, really strong chance to flex because you're just drafting people that are going to score more points at every round. Like,
yeah.
yes, it might be thinner at times, but I don't know. I think if people are going 4 tight ends late, like doing that and just getting the people that actually project for points makes sense.
Yeah, I've been shifting to take more earlier tight ends to try to get that advantage, and I think just having like one of those really strong top 7, top 8 options paired with like one of those guys in like the teens, and then one guys that's going in the 20s that you really like that could be a value. I think is kind of like the best way to play it. So I want
Yeah.
that upside. I think it's a good way to approach it, especially given the 3 tight end builds are so common this year.
Right.
Taking them all at cost is pretty fair. Your shooting sound, I don't want to spend too much time on this because of the discussion on tight ends, but I will say if Tank Dell is cleared, I will click him more.
He
He'll probably move up the board.
he was cleared.
That's great. That's good news.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about tight end number 8, Harold Fannin. I am not a fan. I do not like Harold Fannin at all. And in all honesty, he was like the first one in my bad tier. I think he's a bad pick. Like legitimately, I want him down here. You were a little bit higher. You had him in the shaky tier, but I'm starting to come around. I just think the Browns are bad, and the Todd Monken system isn't going to use him the same way as Stefanski's, and I have a hard time clicking him, man. I used to wait for him to fall. Remember when he was going like 65, 70? I would let him
Yeah.
fall like crazy back then and
Yeah.
take him in like the late 90s, early 100s. And I was still like, I don't like this. Now that's where his ADP is, and I still don't want him at like 115.
But his ADP is 104 now, though. Like,
Yeah,
I agree. I don't like the Brown. I don't. It's the same kind of thing with McBride. Like, I don't think these teams are going to score a whole lot of touchdowns, and we don't even know if this team's going. Like, we at least know that Brissett is a functional quarterback to some degree. And by functional, I mean he could throw the ball. That doesn't mean he can win games, or like not like he's functional enough to throw pick sixes to get him 20 points behind in first quarter. Like, we don't know who the quarterback's going to be here, and we don't know if they're going to be any good. Most likely not. If we don't know who it is by this point, we probably not expecting very much out of it. And Fannin as a talent is insane. Like, just an insane talent. And the why I moved him to shaky, because I was in the bad tier, but that was when he was going in the 90s. I think at 104, it's could it beat you? Like, I think it could, but I don't think it's a very likely thing to beat you either.
Yeah,
so
I'm willing to take that risk because it feels low enough to me not to worry about it.
Yeah, and like, I think like the quarterback play makes it like no matter what, like the highest you could put him is shaky because of the quarterback play.
Yeah. No, there's no way he's a fair pick, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. But like, it's also a pick that this guy did ludicrous stuff last year in a similar situation. But
a few
now
times.
Like he had like a very solid amount of like 16-point games. And this year, but that was, I guess, full PPR. And they added more weapons, which if their quarterback does improve, like, it's going to open him up a little bit, especially if Boston is as good as they're talking about, because that's going to open up the middle of the field even more, which is where Harold Fannin wins. So, like, I don't think it's a great pick, but he is very talented. And I don't know, man. Like, pick 104, you get a player. Like, if he was on the Lions, where would you take him?
Oh,
he would be in the smash. He would be in the smash
original ADP was. I think I'd probably take him right next to Kraft.
Yeah, so
it's not where he is.
Right, exactly. But like, I mean, but the point of that is like,
he has the potential. I understand your point. He could be as good as Tyler Warren. He is that talented. He has that much potential. It's a fair belief system, and it was kind of proven last year. But I think the way that the circumstances change, I lose a lot of faith. And maybe I just wasn't that in on it last year, or I'm still kind of holding my, dragging my feet a little bit to get around to it. But like, I think I'd much rather have Trey McBride at cost than wait around for Harold Fannin, even at 104. So that's where like it just doesn't feel inspiring to me. But I get all the things you're saying. It's just feels gross. Feels
at the
gross.
end of the day, sometimes talent just wins out. Sometimes it just does. Like,
it can.
And like,
totally.
He's top talent, and that's why I have him like at the top of the shaky tier personally. Top of the shaky tier. Like, I don't feel good when I click it, and I have way less than you probably think I do, because I think I'm at like 2.1%. Like, I have less of him than McBride, but I think he's a better pick than McBride too.
Yeah, I have 2.5%. It's just not fun to click, but I think we can keep him in shaky. I think there's reasons to believe that fully fading him would offer a bit more risk than not, but he's not someone I want to be overweight on at all, and I still want him at a discount. But
the problem, and you missed a guy, by the way. Oh no, he's actually ADP one after. Okay, got it. But yeah, like, he goes around. The problem is that you're betting on a Browns player around a player on the Lions, similar, like pretty close. A player on the Niners is reasonably close, and a player on the the Falcons, who we're about to talk about, like who we expect to ascend a little bit, right?
Yeah, him vis-a-vis our next player, Kyle
So
Pitts. I would much rather take Kyle Pitts.
yeah,
And
and
going back
like
to back.
I have them close in my ranks, but like I don't have them close in my heart. If you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
I do think that they're like for me at the end of my fair tier and going to shaky tier, I think that there's a big discrepancy there. Like I actually think there is a tier break there, like a big one. So
In terms of like the players that will eventually fill
right,
fair,
like so
or
I have Kyle Pitts as my last in the fair tier. And my top of the we haven't talked about him, but like Harold Fannin is like the second one in the shaky tier. And
gotcha.
I think that like I feel much, much better about the Kyle Pitts click than I do about the Fannin click. And that like I just do. Like it
Yeah.
and I don't know where you have Kyle
No,
Pitts, but
you have Kyle Pitts towards the end of the fair tier. I have him closer to the top, but not exactly number one exactly. It's not like I have like a huge exposure to Kyle Pitts either. I'm not even at 6% Kyle Pitts, but I do think he's a very fair pick, and I've been trying to get more. And I can see the world where he does really step up. Like his rookie season, he still had 1,000 yards. The touchdowns keep going up year over year. I feel like there's less competition. There's a quarterback I trust more, and then he also gets the coach that made Harold Fannin so productive. Like the Stefanski element is why
yeah.
I want to be in on Pitts more than Fannin. It's kind of like the Devon Achane, Omarion Hampton debate, where it's like, I get the people that still feel so confident in Devon Achane and his capability to crush, but I want to trust the play caller. I want to stick with the coach that makes it happen and sets it up. I think from a philosophy standpoint, you need the mindset to use that player accordingly. And I'm worried that Todd Monken is just not going to do that. Whereas Stefanski,
Right.
I think, will elevate Pitts in a way that we just haven't quite seen since his rookie season. So that's where I stand. I'm a little bit higher on Pitts than you, but we both have him in the fair
yeah.
section.
Last year they had him as he was tied in 2 overall in total points, but 4 people in front, like 5, like Trey McBride was number 1, who played all 17 games. There's 4 more that had more points per game than he did that just were hurt. So, like, it is a new offense. It is a new scheme. I think that Tua kind of assist like a little bit, like because I think that if Penix isn't ready, like Tua, I'm not saying he's a good quarterback, but he can at least keep an offense going.
Yeah.
And
No,
I think that that's an upgrade over what Cousins brought last year, in my opinion.
I also really like how many games Tua is going to be playing in a dome this season. I think that's also really going to help him. Like weather really impacts him, but even if they have to play in division, they stay in like the Florida, South Carolina region when they're outdoors. Like I do think Tua is going to be a little bit better in the indoor environments, and Kyle Pitts will be his second target. So.
Yeah, he had 928 yards, 88 receptions, 114 targets in a team that like had Bijan that had like 100 targets as well.
Yeah, it seems like it's a pretty safe bet that he's going over 1,000 this year, or at least getting very close to it yet again. He's started to prove the doubters wrong. He's started to live up to his potential. Like he's not quite there, but I think he's very clearly like no doubt a top 10 tight end this year. So 8th off the board, very fair price.
Yeah, I think fair is perfectly good. And like he's a player that fell and fell and fell. And like I think you could argue for him to be in the good tier. I think you could I think he's definitely fair or above.
He's been looking more appealing to me as we get closer and closer to the season.
Me too.
Moving on, though, our tight end 9 in ADP is George Kittle. And here is actually a point of contention between us. You're much higher on the confidence level of George Kittle than I am. You have him as a smash. I have him as a good pick. I think it's just the injury concern. As someone who had him on my redraft team last year, I was so disappointed with how many games he actually missed. But when he's on the field, he's a lock in your lineup. He's such a good play. I just think he will miss some more games than expected. Like, how many games do you think he will play? Because for me, I think similar to last season, 11 is kind of my high end projection.
I mean, I assume he starts week 1.
I don't know if they bring him to Australia. I think they should hold him.
He's already been on the podcast talking about the flight.
Okay, well,
about how the flight's going to go.
Well, so I look at the Niners with 2 international games, and the Mexico City game against the Vikings is a big point of contention for me, whether that leads to a lot of injuries or it's a game that they want to hold people out for. I worry about the Niners schedule. The substation narrative, I think, is a little overblown, but for whatever reason, the Niners just keep having these injury problems. I think Kittle is a major injury risk this season, but I get it. When he's healthy, he is absolutely a smash, and he's so cheap this year. It's hard to argue against it.
Like I said, I'm not going to worry about the injuries here, which is weird because I do with some players, but Kittle just if he's actually back, and apparently and I'm not a doctor, so research this yourself, but apparently the way they do Achilles injuries now, the way it recovers and the way that specific one does, it's really not an issue.
Okay.
So I'm just going to believe what the doctors have said. And if he's a full go, if we know that he's ready week 1 with no holdback and actually looks like George Kittle, yes, he's 32 and could get hurt again. I get that. And that does factor in some, but his ADP is what, 110-ish?
It's
114.
About 111, yeah.
114.5.
Yeah.
I said earlier, nobody after Laporta could be tight. Nobody after Kraft could be tight in 1. If there's anybody who's going to actually fight for that, it's this guy, because we've seen it before, especially in a single week. His touchdowns will go down a little bit because of Mike Evans. But we're talking about what is he, tight end 12, 11, 10? Tight end 10?
In ADP, he's tight end 9.
So tight end 9. I'm fine with that. Give me a Niners piece this late. Maybe I'm wrong. We've already got a Christian Kirk injury. Deshaun Stribling's a rookie. Mike Evans might also just get hurt. He's got contingent side on all of these sides, because Pearsall is maybe the most unlucky human on the planet. Kirk can't stay healthy for anything. Mike Evans, for the first year, really missed time last year, and he's about the same age as Kittle. And their other wide receiver is a rookie. I just see there's a lot of situations to where if he's not the one that gets hurt, to where he just assumes a big role.
I hear that, Hoohames, but last year when he was out, Jake Tonjes was so reliable and so productive. I do kind of think that Shanahan, if given the opportunity, will kind of say, fuck it, I'm trusting Tonjes just to make sure Kittle makes it to the playoffs. There's a part of me that does believe that they will be cautious with the playoffs in mind. Tonjes was productive enough for me to expect missed games from a precautionary rest standpoint on the veteran Kittle. And maybe he does have some records that keep him on the field, but I think if they have the luxury to sit him. They do.
No, and I agree that Tonjes was fine when healthy, or whenever he wasn't healthy. But I don't know, man. I just want the big upside swing there. And maybe I'm
the ceiling play is worth it. I'll give you that. No, the ceiling is totally worth it. The Evans edition versus Juwan Jennings, that's pretty negligible in terms of how it impacts him. He's locked in to that number 2 play in their offense, and any given week he could be the number 1. A week with 3 touchdowns, very easy to imagine, and like he could easily go over 1,000 yards on just like 55, 60 catches. He's
Yeah.
crushing in yards per reception and all those metrics. He's such a good pick, but I just push back on the smash because of the injury concern. I think he misses more time, and for that reason, I think he's a bit more of a lesser advanced piece. I think if you have him in redraft, you're going to have to play the waiver wire a few times, like last season.
I did all of my rankings as there's no injury concern.
Okay,
So,
well, yeah, that's one thing I still have as a tiebreaker. So that's why I'd rather take Kelsey than him personally, but they're very close together, and the true upside is still with George Kittle. So I'm fine keeping him at the end of Smash. I would like to compromise and put him at the top of good.
yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with that. Like I think he's a better pick than like I could see Tyler Warren being a better pick than him. And like, yeah, I just think you want pieces of that offense, and he's just a good pick. Like I also think it matters how you build him. If you don't just take him and Fannin and be done, you know, like
Yeah, you need
like
a third, I think, whenever you take him.
so like I'm building him in an intentional way too. So like in best ball specifically, like I'll take Kittle and then like he's my anchor, and then I'll take like Dalton Schultz plus like Gunnar Helm or Dalton Schultz plus Fryermuth, something like that, right? Like I'm using two low end guys to help get me through in case he has some bad weeks, and he's my smash piece through the playoffs.
I will say if Kittle's on your team, that starting roster is deadly. So yeah,
Yeah,
if anything, if we get to the end of this and we want to swap Tyler Warren and Kittle, I wouldn't mind it. The player I have above him that I have at the end of the tier is our next player, and I kind of thought that maybe I would play to your Chiefs fandom and have Kelsey in the smash tier instead.
so where did you have him?
I had Kelsey one spot above George Kittle. Technically, I view him as a good click, but based on our composite rankings, I think he's going to end up as a smash.
I mean, I have him one spot behind Kittle, so I have him at my tight end 4. And I don't think people realize how good he did last year. Like, this isn't me being a Chiefs fan. This is like,
No, he was amazing.
he had 850 yards and 5 touchdowns, 76 receptions. Like, he did look toast. But you know what else? They've added nothing. They've actually lost weapons. Like, they have Kenneth Walker, which if the Kenneth Walker thing works out, that's going to make a better offense, score more touchdowns, and be in the red zone more often. And, well, guess what they don't have? They have Rice and Kelsey in the red zone. That's – and, like, I just think that 5 touchdowns moves up. I think that the yardage stays similar. Like, and if he gets 7 touchdowns and 800 yards, like, that's really, really good. Like, I think that Kelsey and Laporta are very close in what they're going to finish the season at.
That's not unreasonable to say at all. That's
like, and that's why I have such a like. He's one of the reasons that I'm like, and there's a couple other picks like we'll talk about here real soon that are the reasons I have trouble with Laporta in like I just kept moving him down. Like whenever I was starting the rankings, he started at like 6. I just kept slowly like moving him down because the more I got, the deeper I got. I was like, I like this pick a little more than Laporta at cost. So, and honestly, it's going to make me start like skipping some of the earlier tight ends a little more. But
yeah,
I also think the
ahead.
weekly upside of everybody we've talked about is insane. So,
no, it's easy to like the tight ends that have been a top ADP. They're you know they're there for a reason.
But yeah, like he had over 100 targets again. He had 70 receptions. He had 800 yards. Like,
yeah, he was
what
he was
like and
fourth in total yards. He was the fourth
Yeah.
highest yards of all tight ends. He played all 17, and that's where like if I just project out Laporta, it will be more. It will be more touchdowns as well, but not by a lot. Not by significant of a margin to feel like it's drastic. and that's why I think he is also a smash. I have him in the smash territory. I'd rather have a guy like Tyler Warren just because of the age factor, but like age is really the only red flag I can think of for Kelsey. It feels like such a safe pick.
Right. It's not going to look good. It's going to look really bad. And by the way, shout out Travis Kelsey once again for dropping that touchdown pass in week 2 that kept me to win $2,000.
Well, he's pissed me off plenty of times. So
thank you for dropping that touchdown pass, Mr. Kelsey.
It's your turn.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I believe in you. Now
he's a married man now, right?
Yeah.
So, as a few other maybe less distractions or maybe more, who knows? But
speaking of that, the Madison Beer thing, like this is how little I know about pop culture. I didn't know she was even a singer. I didn't know who she was. I just seen the name around. I heard today she was a singer. I had no idea. I had no idea.
She's too young for me to be on my radar in terms of like once I heard about the relationship and saw who she was, like, congrats, brother. That's great. But I had no idea who she was.
Yeah.
I thought that he was going to wait till the Super Bowl on Valentine's Day next year to do it. Yeah. I thought that's the best opportunity, win the Super Bowl and then propose. But I guess
that's what Kelsey tried to do, and then they got smoked.
Yeah, I guess he took a page from Kelsey's book and realized maybe it's not a guarantee.
Maybe he had a conversation with Travis, and he's like, hey, man, I'm thinking about doing this next year. And Kelsey's like, oh, you don't want to do that. It's going to look bad.
Yeah, your brother's gonna propose instead.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, back to actual football.
Yeah. Have you just real quick? Have you seen the new picture of Justin Herbert? Like like the headshot that they give everyone. Like the picture of him this year compared to like every season in the past is like so much calmer and just like so much more comfortable vibe on his face, and it's like, oh, I wonder why, Justin. Yeah. I wonder what's the reason for that.
Feel more relaxed, sir.
Yeah, a little less stressed. A bit more relieved. Good for you, sir. But all right. So far it's been kind of easy. I think now that we're getting into the double digit range, it's going to be a little bit different, but we might need to go a little bit faster on some of these players because we're only at tight end 11, who is Mark Andrews. And I'll say this, Hoohames, I don't love the upside on Mark Andrews. It's not my favorite pick to make. I'm just not that sold on his yardage production. He's just so touchdown dependent where like the only way to feel like you're getting the tight end 1 with Andrews is if he scores 2 touchdowns. And even then, I still could see someone with just like 140 yards, like just, mog him and just be way more productive consistently, where like, I think you're only getting one of those games out of Andrews where he like totally crushes. So I actually believe he's more in the shaky territory. And based on your ranks, I think you would agree as well.
Yeah, I had him at the top of shaky. I started the offseason really in on it, and I just I don't know. He's one of my favorite eliminator picks. I think he's safe to get a bunch of 12-point games, but I don't see he's going to beat you score ever. So he also has risk of he did kind of regress a little bit, right? Like, so what do we he likely isn't there anymore. So he does have a chance to like assume a bigger role, but they also drafted a guy, and then they drafted Lane who could replace that red zone role late in the season. Like I think it's a shakier pick than I originally thought. Like I was championing it quite a bit early in the offseason. I think I've kind of came around to saying I don't know about it.
Yeah, I used to take a decent amount of him after he rose into the 120s. It wasn't as exciting to me. It was fine. I was kind of just like in on him with Lamar more exclusively, where like when it's stacked up and it makes sense. Yeah, no issue with that, but it's still not my favorite pick. And speaking of the next player, I have come around. I am like very easily Kincaid over him because like even without the touchdowns, Kincaid could outscore him. Kincaid might only have like 4 touchdowns and still have more fantasy points than Andrews on the season. Like Andrews going to average like barely 40 yards per game.
Yeah.
Kincaid could average like 77, 82.
Yeah. So Dalton Kincaid last year averaged his PP touch, points per touch, for those of you who aren't inclined to know, 2.73. He his yard he basically, like, I don't have that. I'll have to bring it up, but I believe his yards per route run was like 2.57, which like absolutely lapped every other tight end. So I'll find it here in a second. But like, I have him at the top of good tier. Like, he's close to a smash. I've also kind of did a 180 on him. Like, whatever. I was worried about the health stuff. Like, they said they're going to limit him, but then you start looking at it, and it's like they actually did that last year. Like, they kept him healthy by not playing him all the time. And yeah, that's a little predictable, but it doesn't matter if it's predictable if it still works.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I have him at the top of good tier. Like, he's the only Bills weapon I think is like other than like I like DJ Moore. Like, I think they're all okay priced, but Kincaid's the only one that I feel like is like kind of a target at his ADP.
Yeah, 100%. If I ever draft Josh Allen, the one player I feel very required to stack is Kincaid by far. And like, there's a world where he's just as good as Kraft. Like, he played 11 full games last season and had 5 touchdowns. Like, that's on pace for, I believe, like 9 on the season, if my math is correct. Like, it's just a little bit under 9. And then the yards wise, like 571 yards in 11 games. That's also pretty fucking sweet. Like, these are just the point wise game logs for him. 12.8, 5.7, 15.1, 9.3, 13.8. He had a 19 pointer as well. He also had another 12 pointer. Like, in half PPR, this is the type of production I'm looking for. So dude, I would lobby. I want to put him in the smash tier. I'm
fine with that. I'm fine with that. Like,
yeah,
like he was the breaking point for me. So I found the yards per route run, by the way. Do you guess what his yards per route run was?
If I had to guess, 2.7,
3.19.
Damn.
like when he was on the field, they used him.
He's a first-round pick. They believed in him from the jump. It's just been injuries that have plagued him.
Yeah, so like he only had 44% route participation, but like he still got 570 yards and 5 touchdowns with 44% route participation.
I used to believe in DJ Moore. Now I'm like, DJ Moore is going to take the backseat to Kincaid. I've come full circle on it. I'm fully sold at this point. Last couple weeks, I've been like really trying to target Kincaid a lot more.
Yeah, I think he's just a great pick. Like I think it's best ball too. Like, you don't have to pick when you start him. Like, in redraft, I want nothing to do with Kincaid.
In full PPR redraft, though, he's also a huge smash. That's also valid. But
so like in halfway PPR redraft, I don't really want to pick and choose like when I start them.
Speaking of picking and choosing, being very frustrating, our next tight end is Isaiah Likely, and I'll let you take the lead on this one. Are you in agreement?
Are you in agreement with me or not?
I wasn't as low, but mostly it's because of my exposures. I'm starting to look at my exposures to Likely and be like, shit. If it wasn't best ball, I don't think I'd have as much. But no, yeah, he's a scary pick. He's a scary pick.
I mean, y'all know this. Like, I think he's a bad click. Now, he is a click that could beat you, but
yes,
it's a scary fade. But it's one of those, like, I'm okay fading people that I think only beat you in like 5% of worlds.
I guess that's my view on Fannin.
Yeah, and like number one, like, he showed the single game upside, but that's with Lamar Jackson and another elite tight end opposite of him. He's going to be asked to be the one, most likely here. And we've never seen him really be able to do that. Like, he's only really had like a couple games ever that were really good. Like, let me bring up his game log. You probably have it up right now, but like his
Got it.
game log from last year wasn't really that great.
Oh, in terms of points per game, he was awful. He ranked as
Yeah,
tight end 42 in points per game
yeah.
with only 3.4 points per game. That's dog shit. That
Like,
is so
and
worthless.
yeah, I get it. He's the number two. I get it. Harbaugh's bringing him over. But like he's supposed to be this big spike guy, and he
Yeah,
had a 12.5 games and full PPR. That was
yeah.
it. So like
In I believe it was week
we
13. Yeah, week 13 he had 95 yards but no touchdown, and then the week after he had 25 yards and a touchdown. Those were the only games where he went over 8 points. And
and
only one of them he had 7.5. Everything else was less than 4 points. He was dog shit last year.
Jackson Dart does love throwing to tight ends, but was that because he loves throwing to tight ends, or was that because Malik Neighbors wasn't healthy? Like, and Scadabo was hurt, right? Like,
Yeah.
his weapons were hurt. Like, so you throw to the best players on your team at that point, and Theo Johnson was one of those. Daniel Bellinger was apparently the other one, and Mooney, right, or not Mooney, Wandale. So, like, I wonder what's going to happen here. Like, it's also a Matt Nagy offense. The biggest problem with him is where he goes in the draft. Like, he is tight end 13 at ADP 129. And in my opinion, like the next 5 names should go ahead of him, or like he should, like,
Yeah.
I think he should go, and I'll just name the people. Like, I think he should go in the same group as Chig, Juwan Johnson, Hunter Henry, all of those picks. Like, and he goes 20 some picks ahead of some of these, like 30 picks ahead of some of these guys. Like, I just don't think it's a good, like, all those other people have shown more upside than he has. Yes, the 126-point game week 1 against Kansas City 2 years ago that could have been even bigger because he didn't get his feet down. That's it. That's all he's got. Like, I just think he's a do what?
Sorry, finish your point.
I just don't think that one game 2 years ago on a different team with a different quarterback without Matt Nagy is like the right way to play this.
Yeah, the stretch he had when Andrews was down a few years ago, I believe it was like a 5-game stretch where it was the same season Njoku went off with Flacco, and they were both like averaging like 14 points per game. I think that really small sample size still lingers in some people's minds. Like you said, the toe out of bounds.
Yeah.
But last year's explosive game, that 95-yarder, was also against the Bengals, the best matchup you can find. And I remember this even more vividly. Week 15, he got them again, and he put up a fucking bagel. Like, he also just completely crashed and
Didn't
burned.
he?
So I think it's a very fair fade. I think now that Neighbors is looking more healthy, the argument that you have like a few weeks at the beginning of the season to stack with Dart as the top target is now like pretty much out the window. And that's kind of the only thing you're clinging to. So I would agree. His price deserves to fall. I think lobbing for bad is totally legit.
On top of that, like, I went back and looked at his blocking rates and stuff because I was curious about like if it was going to be him or Theo in on passing down. Like in 12 they're going to run a lot of 12 personnel, and him and Theo will both be on the team or out there. And Jackson Dart already has synergy with Theo. He doesn't with Likely. Likely does probably, like, you might say, well, Harbaugh brought him over. Well, it's a Matt Nagy system, so it'll be a different offense as well.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. You can use that because, yes, the coach liked him, but he was a much better blocker than Theo was. So if they're going to use both of them, I mean, I think that both of them will go out in routes pretty often, but I think if they have to have a blocker in, he's going to be the one, and that's going to make him more tired because he never had to do that with Andrews there.
Yeah.
So
there's
like
so
I
many
think
variables with him. The floor is non-existent.
Yeah, like, could he absolutely smash? Yes. Like, this could look really, really bad. Like, like not only do I have him in the bad tier, this could make me look bad in the end. But I think that in most simulations, Isaiah likely does not pay off this price. And
Well, see, go ahead.
I think that in the worlds that he does, somebody else around him also pays off what he did. So if you're just taking other picks around him or later, I think one of those other guys in his best possible season, I think that you're going to be able to find somebody else around or later with the same kind of like profile. The only issue is he gets the Cowboys in week 17. Like
Yeah,
that
there
is
are
literally
there are
it.
outs
Like
where like you
that's it.
can envision him burning you. Like he
Yeah.
does still have that true upside, but like vis-a-vis Dalton Kincaid, one pick behind him in ADP, like give me Kincaid all day. And then it's not the next guy, but the two players we're about to talk about, I am so thrilled on his price. Compared to them, it's just not fair. And now that Neighbors looks healthy, it's just like I'm losing all arguments in his favor. So I
Yeah.
had him higher than you did coming into today. I had him 7 spots higher actually in the shaky tier. But the more I think about it, I think it's totally fair
So
to just keep him in the bad section.
This is scary, by the way. I had my exposures up for DK because I've done most of my DK millies. I'm 80 in. And I did not realize how little Isaiah Likely I've taken in the 80. Like I knew I didn't take him much, but take a guess at how many shares I have of Likely through 180 or through 80 of them.
3%.
I hadn't clicked them yet.
Okay.
I'm like, uh-oh.
Well, I just got
like I don't want that, but he goes earlier. Like it's full. He goes at 119.
Okay.
That's
bad.
I think I'm just like, if it beats me, it beats me.
Well, I'm going to stop clicking him because I have my exposure. I checked my exposures today, and I'm still at 10% Isaiah Likely. And pretty much almost all of those are with, like, Jackson Dart teams. I know I've taken him a few times when he's, like, fallen to 140, but, like, that's where he should go, if not, like, 145. And, like, I need to stop taking him now
as
that
you were saying,
have some confidence in Neighbors.
These other names that we're getting ready to talk about are all, like, very reasonable to beat him. Or like at least put up what his nutted season would be.
Yeah. Everyone coming up has so much more of a safety net.
Like
it's just like it's just hopium that you're projecting that he gives you those 80-yard weeks a bunch of times. Like it's just too unreasonable to expect all of the time.
In his absolute nut outcome, it's the Kyle Pitts season from last year.
Yeah.
Which would be really, really good. But
one game carries it.
Well, no, like it was he had 900 yards.
Yeah, but that hat trick is what cemented why it was all worth it is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
one so elite game, he's just the guy you have to have randomly, but not in a week to week basis. Can you count on him?
Yeah. All right, let's move on.
Yeah. What's up, Steve? Steve, nice to see you. Thank you for joining us today. Our next player is Jake Ferguson of the Dallas Cowboys, and I think the reason why Jake Ferguson goes this high is because people don't really put into context how good he was when CeeDee Lamb was out and kind of just expect that that's going to be a pretty common outcome for him. But I think he's pretty overrated. I don't think he's a particularly good click. I have him at the bottom of shaky.
Well, that's higher than me.
I can see a world where it doesn't work out, but I just don't quite see it. Yeah, you have him behind Likely.
You just heard how I talked about Likely, and I have him behind Likely.
I think he's a little bit safer than Likely. I'll give him that. And then, like I said, the world where a Lamb or Pickens does go down, like you do have like just a nutted like top 10 play. But like that's just not a scenario I really want to bet on too much. So I think he's more shaky, just a little bit safer than Likely.
He had 7 touchdowns last season.
He had 8. He had 8.
He had 5 of them in 3 games where Lamb was hurt.
Yeah.
5.
Oh, no, 4 of them he had 6 touchdowns in 4 games when Lamb was out.
Yeah, I see. Okay, I wasn't sure if that first game, I think the first game was he was only out half that game, but I wasn't counting that. So like the full games that Lamb missed, he had 5 touchdowns. He had 23, 12, 21. So, like, is that repeatable? Like, if somebody goes down, could it work? Yes, it could. It really could. The reason I have him behind Likely is because, like, in a world that everybody's healthy, like, Likely's ability to spike, in my eyes, is higher, which makes him a slightly better pick because this is a spike week game. So,
I
like,
suppose I see that point.
like
My counter,
that is it.
my counter is because his ADP is like 2 spots later. It's like
Yeah, like, which is fine.
vis-a-vis.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't like, it's what,
It's
like,
not fun though. I'm not
yeah.
taking much Ferguson. And it's only like, oh, did I get stuck with like a good value on Dak without Lamb or
He's smiling
Pickens?
that much because he's still on a team.
Yeah, he's just happy to be there. He's excited, but
Yeah.
like Pickens is just keeping him way too capped for me to feel good about it. So I'd be willing to put him down to bad, but I don't think he's atrocious. He's very shaky though. I think the main argument is betting on
Yeah.
somebody else getting hurt. So
Yeah,
I'm down for this, but it's pretty affordable as well. It's just kind of it's this next guy who's on the list as to why I don't give a fuck about Likely or Ferguson. Goddard is my favorite pick on the board. Goddard, I have at 19%. I've drafted more Goddard than any other tight end. He fills in this last smash spot for me.
Yeah, I have him in the smash tier too. I just have him near the bottom of it.
I understand.
Like,
Injury risk or
no,
what's
like I said, I didn't really bake in the injury risk. Like, I'm just not as in on the Eagles as everybody else. Is basically what it comes down to. Like, I do think that with AJ Brown gone, like, they're going to use him a lot more. I think that the removal of the tush push stuff last year, like them doing all that extra stuff, like, I think that stuff's going to stay because the team doesn't want to do it. They had, like, I think every player on the offensive line, I think, missed games last year because of injury. And part of the reason is because they were running the tush push. So they have been for multiple years, and none of them are happy about it. So I think that those silly plays are like things that are going to stick around. I think his touchdowns are just going to stay high.
yeah, I don't see that
like-
changing. Like maybe
like-
11, not exactly, but like in terms of a red zone role, it
Yeah.
feels like such a smash.
The wide receiver 2 there is a rookie. The other one's named Dontavian Wicks, who will put up one 29-point game and do nothing else the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And the one game that it will be a game that matters. It'll be an island game of some sort, or in the fantasy playoffs. One or the other is when it'll happen. But yeah, I think he's clearly just a really, really good pick. If the Eagles offense is reasonable at all, like, this guy, his ADP is 135, and I think you can slot him in for seven touchdowns minimum, like, minimum.
I think he should go right next to George Kittle. Kittle could go higher, like you were saying.
Yeah.
All these values are wrong, but like where I really rank him is like 115, 116, 117. I think he should go late round 10, and it's just such a good price when he falls to the 12th.
I think Kelsey, Kincaid, Goddard, Kittle, like I think Kittle should be ahead, but like,
Yeah,
I think those four could be right next to each other in a line, and it'd be fine.
I fully agree.
Yeah,
So,
like,
now that we have this smash tier sorted out, is there any like shuffling of the order you would like this to be? Because I think in terms of like my exposures and how I view, I think this is fairly good. I could see Warren being at the bottom of this tier though.
well, right. I think, I mean, obviously I have Kelsey at 2 in this tier, but like, I think Kelsey is a bigger smash to Kincaid.
Really? I
Yeah,
think
like,
if they're both fully healthy, I see a higher ceiling for Kincaid.
there's a higher ceiling for Kincaid, but I think the consistency Kelsey's going to give you is, like, he's going to have some like 17-point weeks or whatever. And at tight end, that's a lot.
And one of them is probably against the Chargers in week 17. So
Right.
I think that's fair. If you want, yeah.
Like,
can
I
do that.
think
I don't mind.
I'm fine with where it's at, but I if I were to change anything, I'd slide Kelsey up 2 spots.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
These are composite for a reason. So,
And I mean, one of my last smash person is still not on the board, but you obviously don't have him there. And like, he's the last one of my smash tiers. So we'll get to him in a few picks, but
I am low enough on him where our composite is going to have him in the next tier.
Yeah.
That is one of the players I was 2 tiers lower on you than
Okay.
and that'll be a fun discussion. We'll get to it in
Yeah.
I believe like three players. But yeah, top tier, that sounds good to me. I don't think anybody else will fit other than the guy we're about to disagree on in just a minute. But so Smash, Loveland, Kraft, Goddard, Kelsey, Kincaid, and Tyler Warren. Obviously, me and Hoohames have all 6 of these at the top of our exposures. Don't even ask us to see it.
Actually,
it's clearly what it is, right?
I think my number 1 exposure is the next guy.
It is Chigo Conquo.
So I had him as the best pick on the board for literally 2 months, but his ADP started at like 158, 159, and it's 140 now. And I think that he's just a good pick now. I think that I have him near the top of good, but like it's the Isaiah Likely bet with a 11 pick discount and a better offensive mind in the building running the show. And like he is going to be the tight end or target number 2. Like I think that like it's pretty much guaranteed. Like if Diggs goes there, I do think that this changes a little bit, and I think Diggs will end up there. But like right now, like Likely may not be the number 2. It may be Mooney. It may be Darius Slayton. But I don't think it's going to be Traylon Burks over to Chig. Like they paid Chig.
Yeah.
A lot. Like
there's no way one of those young guys or Burks overtakes him. But
yeah.
I do factor in that I firmly believe they're bringing someone in, whether it's Diggs or somebody else. I genuinely believe, Debo might just come back to the team,
right?
And it's just not as obvious of a bet. So I agree that there was a point in time when Chig was an absolute smash, and I think it was when he was 2 rounds cheaper. If he was still back in the 150s, I would happily put him at the top of the good tier, maybe even still in the smash. But now where he goes, I've gotten to the point where I only take him when he's stacked with Jaden Daniels, and like I need him. I don't think he's gonna settle where he currently is. I think they're gonna sign Diggs or someone, and he's gonna fall back down around. I think.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen as well. And like I just take him. I take him sometimes. I don't like force it anymore. I think some of the picks behind him are better picks at this point. So like I still really like the upside bet. I like the tight end for Jaden Daniels based on what happened with Ertz 2 years ago, but it's all a projection. So like I like it, but I could like if somebody was wanting to argue this as a shaky pick instead, like I would entertain that. Like I think it's a good pick because I think that like you look at who's been throwing Chig the ball, and Malik Willis being one of those names is pretty bad for a guy we'll talk about later. And Cam Ward without an offensive line last year, like it just I don't think he ever had an offense that was functional, and I'm hoping this year he does. And I think that we could see like he showed flashes, and he's had spike weeks every year. Like he's like kind of exactly like Likely in a way worse situation.
He's been extremely reliable, and like volume wise, he's really like if it was full PPR, I would trust him a bit more. Like when the Titans have committed to him, he's been a really reliable guy off the waiver wire as like your backup tight end or just like in a pinch. I need this guy, and he's going to give you 8 points. But he's also really struggled with touchdowns. His target share has always been a little bit capped. Like I believe last year he had 78 or 79 targets. That was a career high. And there's guys that go later than him that have consistently offered more targets the last 2 seasons. Like because of how much he's risen, I think because he's been such a popular pick, I no longer try to get him on all my teams. I have him at 12% exposure, but like all of those came when he was around cheaper. So I would like him to have it. I would like to place him at the top of the fair tier. I think because of the price and it's not full PPR, I'd rather have him right here. He's not a bad pick or shaky in my opinion at all. I think you know exactly what you're getting, but I think it's gotten a little expensive to where I'm not dying to make it a good pick. And that's because I'm over the moon on one other guy we'll talk about in just a sec.
I think that's fair statement. Like I
A
really like the upside.
non-derogatory. That's fair.
Yeah, that's literally fair. Literally, yeah.
Uh, is there anything else you want to button up with?
I'm fine. I'm fine moving him down. Like I said, like I don't. I had him near the top, but like he's one of those guys. I don't know where I really want to rank him. Um, I
When
it's a close your eyes and hope kind of bet though. Like
when it came to your ranking versus mine, you had him as the eighth best value earlier today. I had him as 15. So based on the
yeah,
composite at 11 and a half, he is the first player of this
uh,
this new
he's
tier.
one that like I will listen to anybody on it. I'm
I,
doing
I
like
I think if we
I
had this conversation 6 weeks ago, I'd be lockstep with you. I'd be right there with you. But I think everyone else has kind of hopped on board, and now it's like
the
it's like
price is
Diggs
high
kind of.
now. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
So if they do sign someone else, I think it's going to come back down, and that's why right
yeah.
now I'm not doing it too much.
Yeah, and like that, like the dig smoke is why I've only clicked him a couple times over the last week. I'm down to like 17%. I had 23 or something.
Yeah, he's still a good pick. It's just a little bit more expensive now
Yeah.
relative to like the next guy, Gadsden. This one's interesting. You are pretty low on Gadsden compared to me, but I know it's my Chargers bias. I've kind of stopped taking him a little bit though lately. He would be our top of the shaky tier actually, and I think that's a very valid spot for him. Like the upside is really there in the Mike McDaniel system, but like the Njoku situation scares me. You know, like there were a lot of really bad games from Gadsden last year. It just wasn't quite what everyone assumed it would be consistently. He
Well,
exploded, but he's also like giving you a lot of like 3 point, 2 point games as well. And he
nope.
can't block.
Nobody, number one, yeah, he can't block. But number one, like McDaniel comes in and they sign two tight ends. Like that's kind of weird. Like when this guy was like making it a point to try to get guys he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
He exploded on the scene. Like he was better than people thought, like out of the gate. And then he regressed to like what people thought he was. Like, because he had that 4 game stretch where he put up 11.8 full, this is full PPR, 11.8, 29.4, 18.7, and then 11. And then he regressed down, and the rest of the season he only had one 12-point full PPR game. So like it might have been one of those like the team figured something out because they were running the 11 personnel or the 13 personnel thing over and over again. This solo thing with Trey Harris, the only wide receiver on the field, and Fannin was he was the number one pass catcher in those 3 tight end sets. So like whenever the teams kind of figured out what they were doing, I think that like he kind of regressed out. So McDaniel ain't going to be running 3 tight ends out there. So, and they brought in 2 guys. It is a player that like I would love him to be good. Like he was fun to watch. But it feels a lot like it could be Jonnu Smith again. But the fact that they went out and just got a bunch of people, like it scares me a lot.
Yo, what's up, Candyman? Thanks for popping in. But back to Gadsden real quick. Like his biggest game, that 164 yarder, I was there at the game, and part of me like genuinely believes that if they weren't honoring Antonio Gates at halftime in that game,
yeah,
like there wouldn't have been the same like thought process of like let's really fucking deliver this rookie tight end as like maybe the second coming. Like it was against the Colts, and Taylor was just demolishing them so badly that they were down like 35-7 really fat. Like it was halftime and it was like the game was over. So like they were in such big catch-up mode, and like yes, he can offer those deep targets, but like in general 2 weeks later, he was back down to like capping at 5 targets. That 9-target game against the Colts feels like such an outlier and just not safe to expect. Like the way he regressed immediately, I kind of interpret it as like, well, you guys didn't know we had this rookie that can do this. It's a
Yeah.
good spot for us to do it. And it's working for a few weeks, but now the league has film on it. Now they've figured it out, and the man can't block. So now it's a liability to bet on him so much. So I want to see it one more year before I truly trust it. And I think Njoku's just good enough to keep him at bay. I genuinely think Njoku's a problem for him. So I have so much, but I took a lot of it when he was so much more expensive, and I didn't expect Njoku on the team. So I'm still way overweight, but I have so much Herbert at stacks. And
the Njoku signing was not good.
No, terrible. Terrible.
I think that Gadsden, it's all the picks that go around him. It's kind of like the Likely thing. Likely and Gadsden should go close to each other, but they should go behind these other people. I
think once we get to Juwan Johnson, once he's off the board, Dalton Schultz, I think could still maybe, be better than Gadsden, but in terms of true upside, if it wasn't best ball, I don't think we'd be taking Gadsden where he goes. I think he'd fall full round.
I actually think if best ball started post the Njoku signing, I don't know if he would be drafted at 100% of drafts.
That I think is going too far. That I think he would still be drafted. But
no, I don't think I think there would be he would be pick 180 something at that point.
Closer to that for sure than where he currently is. No doubt.
He would be drafted most drafts, but I think every once in a while he would slip through.
Yeah, he's slowly trickled down to 150 in terms of ADP. He can still fall another round. But
I was looking through some pre-drafts the other day, and one of my favorite teams had Gadsden on 92 or whatever, or 118. I'm like, oh man,
dude, I had 15% at that price, man.
Oh man, it was such a smash draft, and then it was him, and I think it was him plus Njoku, and it's oh man, come on.
No, I had so much of both of them. It was the worst outcome, but it's sometimes you can really talk yourself into it, and other times you really think about it, and it's shit.
I will say he is a player that I think it's a shaky bet, but a lot of the shaky bets, actually I had him in a shaky tier. A lot of the shaky bets are the ones that I don't like it, but I do see the path that beats you.
Yeah, he is one guy I could see actually crush you.
Yeah,
especially being at 15 picks past Likely. It's that's definitely more tolerable.
Right. Yeah. It's an offense where 100% sure is going to be good, right?
Yeah.
Or we believe it's going to be good.
Yeah.
But. All right, let's move on.
This is your boy, Brenton Strange, the Jaguars tight end. This is who you wanted in the smash tier. I just couldn't quite get there with him. I had him in the fair tier. I had him in tier 3. So we're gonna compromise in the good tier, but if he's your boy, sell me on it. Hoohames, why am I too low on Strange, who I will acknowledge I still have drafted at 12% of the time?
Number one, his ADP is 154, I believe, right?
Yeah, it's really nice.
His ADP or 151. It's moving up. So in that range, we're getting into an offense we want into. I don't like I think it's more that I don't like any of the receivers' prices. I don't mind the Travis Hunter price, but in Jacksonville, it's my in. It's my way in. In pre-draft, I actually originally Coolers and I in the first Who's Crew, he had we took Brenton Strange at pick 98, and we thought it was a good pick. And we still I think if he was going at pick 98, I think we'd probably still be in. Because it's just maybe he's wrong, but Brenton Strange, it's an offense that we expect good things from. He showed the ability to consistently earn targets. When he got hurt early in the season, he was leading the team in yards or receptions. It was one or the other. He came back and he did good things again. Trevor Lawrence has not proven that he can throw outside the numbers. He works inside the numbers. If they run these double tight end sets or the triple tight end sets, because they drafted 2 tight ends as well, with who was it? Bo Richter and Boricher and was it Koziel? Yeah. Like he's going to be the receiving threat there. So in those situations, if they don't run the ball, he's going to be the touchdown upside guy.
As
So
someone who was very high on Strange last year, obviously the injury is, throwing a bit of a wrench in it, but I was watching him very closely when he came back, and I had him on my teams. I picked him up off the waiver wire. I was trying to start him, and I just get increasingly frustrated at the lack of touchdown production from him. I felt like when he hit, it was extremely dependent on matchups. And I understand your point very much where like he's gonna stay on the field. They don't have another tight end to compete with him, and it's so crowded at receiver where like if I'm trying to just get in on a T-Law stack on a good offense with Jacksonville, that's the most easy point of access. It makes a ton of sense. Like I said, I've drafted
so
him
cheap is the thing. It's so cheap.
There's one guy that goes after him right next to him. We're about to talk about that I just love more. So that's why I'm not over the moon on him. But I do kind of feel like the way I've watched the Liam Cohen system, going back to like Tampa and, when he was with McVay, they weren't using tight end as like a true focal point. And so I'm not like fully convinced that they use the tight end in that way every week where like you can project top 12 numbers consistently. I still just view him more as like a matchup touchdown dependent piece a little more than others. But for the price, I am in as well. Yeah. He's absolutely a good pick. If Fair is the worst, I think there's no way you can rank him lower than Fair, but it's just so inexpensive. That whole round is just such a good option. And it's one of the reasons why Gadsden's so shaky, because Strange is right there behind him, and it's a good pick.
The Tampa Bay thing makes sense, like the tight end, like them not throwing tight ends as much unless somebody was hurt. But like I've always viewed that as a Baker stat, not a like that's always possibly how I like, and that's why my Otten rank is what it is.
Gotcha.
So like that, like I might be looking at it the wrong way, but I think that like I've looked at that as a Baker stat is all. So, but I'm fine moving him down a little. Like I said, I think the picks from Kelsey all the way down to like the bottom of my good tier, which is a player we'll get to in a bit, like down to Tyler Warren. I think all of those being intermixed is fine. Like Kelsey, Goddard, Strange, Kincaid, Chig, Brock Bowers, and Tyler Warren. I think all of those are really close. Like if you like, I wanted to move Kelsey up, but like if people were vehemently like he needs to go down to the bottom of good, like I'm not like completely out on that either.
He was your 6th best value. He was my 13th. So based on composite, he's at 9.5, and that's a good pick.
Yeah,
I got no issue with it. I'm just not going back to like the Fannin discussion. It's like, how confident do I think I could get burned if I have 0 of him? He's not one of those guys, but that's why he goes in round 13. Like that's just, he's probably not finishing top 5, but he can definitely help you advance. He's a perfect backup. He's a great backup.
If you're doing these 3 to 4 tight end builds, like Strange is perfect for those. Because he's going to have some like a bunch of 6-point games, but he's going to have several like 17-point games. And you're just searching for like the solid games, like a bunch of 15 to 16-point games with that build, I think, and hoping nobody super smashes down the stretch.
Well, the only reason I don't take him more is because Hunter Henry is the guy I feel very safe projecting that type of value as well. Hunter Henry is the guy I'm much higher than on you. Just like Brenton Strange, I had him as the 6th best value. He's a smash in terms of my ADP shares. I'm sitting at 17% Hunter Henry right now.
We literally had them exactly flipped.
Yeah,
Like exactly flipped.
literally exactly.
Yeah.
So for the sake of you had one spot lower on Henry than I had Strange. So for that
Yeah.
reason, Henry's going to go behind Strange in the spots. But he feels like such a good pick. It's why I don't like taking Chigokonkwo. Like I was telling you, like Chig last year maxed out his career high at 79 targets. The last 2 seasons, Hunter Henry has had 97 and 87 targets, like an average of 94 2 straight years. He's also been the top touchdown maker in that Patriots passing game. Like his connection with Drake May is just so secure, so safe to bet on. And like he's such a solid veteran. Like he played alongside Antonio Gates. Like he knows you I'm sure he probably calls him and has like discussions with him on like
Yeah.
help ways to help and like stay healthy.
There it is. We're going back to the
he's
fandom,
a Charger,
the Charger.
bro.
He's a
I
Charger
gotta give the former Charger
Yeah,
the little extra bump, man. He's the one guy I wish they never passed on. I was sad when they got rid of him, and they've been trying to replace him, bro. Like Gerald Everett can't fucking do it. Gadsden can't quite do it. If the Chargers had Hunter Henry, Henry would be taken like next to Travis Kelce. Like I think he is trying to be a Hall of Famer. I think he's staying on the team as long as he fucking can. And I don't think he's relinquishing his role to Raritan. They got rid of Hooper for a reason. Like he's fucking good. He's so reliable. He'll give you 750 yards again and probably 7 touchdowns. I think he's getting another 90 target season. I love Hunter Henry, bro.
I think you're the only person in history to say he's going to be a Hall of Famer. But
I think it's going to take another 5 years, but like I think he can stay on the field another 5 seasons.
I'll play the bad guy here.
Go for it.
AJ Brown's getting a bunch of touchdowns. Like he's not had AJ Brown on that team. Yeah, and like I used to have him.
All of Kayshon Boudy's touchdowns are just going to him.
Haven't you been on X today? Like it's only Kayshon Boudy highlight clips. Yeah, he's going for like 18 to 20 touchdowns apparently. Like I get it. I think that they want to be a run first team. It's a Vrabel team. And I think that they're going to appease AJ Brown anytime AJ Brown's a little upset.
Probably.
Vrabel's dealt with it before. So, like, I moved him down to fair because I do like him. I do think he's going to have some good weeks. I think the AJ Brown thing is actually a pretty big deal negatively for, like, and Austin Hooper leaving was, like, real big. And if AJ Brown didn't end up there for some reason and they would have ended up with, like, Diggs back, like, Hunter Henry would have been an absolute smash pick. So, but I think that AJ Brown, like, how many touchdowns do you think that AJ Brown's going to have this year?
Probably 14.
I mean, that's a lot, right?
Like, yeah, it's a lot, but it's like, still Drake May who can throw for like 35, 40 touchdowns. Like yeah. I want to bet on the offense. And then we've brought this up, Hoohames many times. Who's AJ Brown playing week 17? Pat Surtain. Where else is the ball going to go?
Yeah, I'm in on Henry and Dobbs, like for playoff best ball stuff.
Yeah, the week 17 aspect is why I'm like even more sold. Where like I think there are going to be touchdowns in that game that don't go to AJ Brown specifically, and I do see Henry as one of the guys that last year he had 2 20-pointers. Like there are weeks where Drake May just looks to him, and their chemistry is so solid. As much as I like Romeo Dobbs, a lot of those free agent receivers just don't click that first year on a new team. Sometimes it just doesn't quite get delivered the way that you expect. So I just don't think he's falling off the way that others do, but I acknowledge he'll be worse.
I don't think he's going to fall off. I just think that he's got way more competition than he ever had.
Well, here's the thing, Hoohames. He's being drafted as tight end 19.
Yeah.
He played all 17 games last season. Do you know where he finished in points per game last year?
Off the top of my head, no, but probably like 9.
Tight end 12 in points per game. In terms of total points, it was much higher because he played the full season. But he had 8.8 points per game. That was more than Colston Loveland on a per game basis. That was more than Jake Ferguson on a per game basis.
That's not what my numbers say.
8.8.
I have him as tight end 13 in points per game, in half point PPR points per game.
In half
Now
point
there's a log jam here. So
yeah, there's like 5-7 players that all average between 9 and 8.5 points per game. He is one of them. He's right behind Kincaid and Tyler Warren by 0.1 in points per game. Like
the bottom of that,
he smashed tight end 19 last season. Even if he does regress, I think he can be tight end 16 and still be worth this pick. I think he's a very good pick.
How Boogie says.
Yeah. He will.
Yeah, there we go. We're uncovering truths here.
I think if Chigo Okonkwo was still at like 150, then I would have vis-a-vis. I would rather go Chigo Okonkwo. But now that you get a full round discount based on Chigo Okonkwo's ADP, I expect the same amount of volume, if not more. And I think Hunter Henry has more touchdowns than Chig. So I want to put him in the good tier.
That's fine. Like I think I'm good with that. Like it does not matter to me where he is really, because like I don't think he's a bad pick. I obviously like him as well. I have him like all of these picks. I like a couple of the guys later more because I think at this range, I like the Hunter Henry pick. I don't mind if Daniel Jones or Bryce Young is still there, picking up my third quarterback. I think Britton Strange is a much better pick. I like Juwan Johnson just as much. So I think he's probably the next one we're going to talk about.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So we can talk about him. I have him one spot behind Hunter Henry at 15.
Okay.
So
I had him. I was a little higher. I had him as a good pick at number 11, but it's mainly just because of how exposed I am to him. I'm happy to put him right here. I think between Chig and Pitts, I think is valid.
Yeah,
he's such a safe
makes
bet.
Sense.
He's such a safe bet.
Yeah, he like that's what I think exactly about Hunter Henry. Like, and as Steve says, Patriots probably throw a lot more. Like that. I mean, I agree.
There's no downside, I think, to his cost. I think your tight end 19 is truly his floor.
Right. And I think that all of these picks are just solid. Like Juwan Johnson got a contract this year, I believe, right? Or was it last year? Like
I think it might have been last year. I don't quite recall, but they're invested in him for sure. I don't worry about Fant or Delp.
They did for once they got rid of Taysom Hill's not there and Foster Monroe.
Yeah.
They actually have a quarterback and Tyler Shuck. Like we believe in the offense. Yeah. And I think weren't they roommates or something?
They were roommates at Oregon.
Yeah. Which is wild. Like
such a long time
Hunter Henry, he's been in the league like 7 years, and now like his rookie quarterback, he's who he's playing with. This is wild stuff. But yeah, I think fair to good is exactly where he needs to be.
He's never gonna like completely burn anyone. Like he might have one massive game, but like in general, he's just so consistently reliable that like you're not killing it with him on your team, but he's never gonna burn you. You're never making a bad pick by taking him.
Yeah, no, he's a really good pick for sure.
There's not that much more to say about him. Like it's kind of straightforward.
Bet on the offense improving, tight end, touchdowns.
It's also like the perfect backstack with Shuck. If you don't have Olave or Tyson, it just really completes your team. So, fair click on Juwan Johnson. Sadiq, however, I fucking hate. Like, legitimately one of my worst values on the board. I have him at 28. You had him at 21. So I think he's just a bad pick. But by compromise, he would fit into the shaky tier.
All right, let me sell you on him.
Okay, go for it.
With my having him ranked as the 21st best guy. Uh,
Well, that's right at ADP. He's literally number 21 off
yeah.
the board.
So I just think that in certain rooms, Poppy, you can go back and listen, or Papayas, like,
Yeah, just rewind a little bit. If he's go to the point when he's off of the screen, and then go forward like a minute. You'll find it.
um, but like, so I use him specifically in builds where I've pushed tight end because, like, let's say tight end one is Chig, or let's say tight end one is
Hunter Henry.
Jake Ferguson because I have a DAC stack.
Okay.
And tight end two is Hunter Henry, Juwan Johnson, Brenton Strange. Like, that feels okay. And then Sadiq offers that late season upside big swing. Like, I think in a certain kind of build, it's a really, really good pick. I don't think overall, but it's a shaky pick because number one, you're investing in the Jets. Number two, like, you're invested in Geno Smith. And number three, like, they drafted two of the same. Like, a lot of people believe him and Omar Cooper are going to compete, like, argue for routes. And, like, I don't disagree with any of that. But, like, you look at picks in that range, you look at the draft capital they spent on him, 16th overall draft pick in the NFL draft for a tight end, which is very high capital for a tight end. Like, that is a lot of investment into that. They are going to try to use him. I think for in the late season, it may not even be Geno Smith. Maybe it's a worse quarterback. But, like, I think for late season upside in a room that can use a late season upside pick, it's a good bet. But it doesn't make it a fun, like, it doesn't make it a strong bet. It's still shaky. Like, that's how I view it. And, like, I don't say I love it, but I do think there's situations and teams where it is like a really good pick on the board.
I think I'm still a little upset that I started to take him a lot towards the end of pre-draft to where I've kind of just been like, I don't want more. But, like, it's the real estate argument. Hoohames, location. It's just a death nail. It's the Jets. They're just not equipped to do anything properly. Frank Reich gives me no confidence. Aaron Glenn's getting fired, and Geno Smith is still dog shit. Like, quarterbacks get so much better. Everyone gets better when they leave the Jets. Geno's going back to the Jets. Like, if anything, he's just going to punch someone again. Like, he's going to go back to dog shit. And I just don't want to be left holding the bag on the New York Jets when, like, they have a very crowded offense. And I've basically just gone to the fact that, like, the way I want to play their passing game is just through Garrett Wilson. That's the only way I'm really interested. And, like, it is tight end. The bar is so low, but it's just so gross to me. And there's still some decent clicks that I think will do the same thing going later that I'm just out.
So for me, I don't think he can be in the bad tier click because his ADP is 161.
I guess, but he still falls to like 175 sometimes.
I guess I argue that, and I have some people lower than him in the bad tier. So, like, I get it. Like, I just think that down here, you do not have an upside swing this big anywhere. Like, it is the last true absolute smash upside pick down the board.
I don't think it's a smash. It has upside. I agree. It has upside.
I'm not saying it's going to hit, but, like, I think it's like the last true shot at upside.
I think we disagree on Freiermuth so much that's where I push back.
Yeah.
But in terms of talent, you are correct. There's no one more talented than maybe Njoku, but, you know, that's a completely different case.
Let me say something to Papayas real quick. So these are, I don't know if you're here, like, these, you just got here, like, all of the ranks are based on ADP. So it's our feeling on their ADP. It's not just them. Like, if we were to just flat out rank these guys, likely wouldn't be all the way at the bottom, but yeah.
But Pepper Tony kind of summed up my argument.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, like, Geno. So All right, let's talk for a second. Geno Smith historically is really, really bad with bad offensive lines. The Jets have a lot of capital spent. Like, he is one of the most pressure sensitive quarterbacks in the league. So their offensive line, some sources think they'll be good, some sources think they'll be bad. If they are a slightly above average offensive line, Geno Smith will look way better than he did last year. That was one of the worst offensive lines ever assembled based on all of the things that happened and all the injuries. And like, so Geno Smith, yes, he's been bad over the course of the history, but the few years that he looked decent was with solid-ish offensive lines. Now, that doesn't make him a good quarterback, but it does mean that he could produce some fancy points.
I get the O-line argument. I hear it. I guess where I stand is like there's the moral element and like the willingness to show up on the field that comes with winning and losing. And I think week 1, when you actually believe you have a chance, the O-line shows up and tries their best. When you get to week 10 and the record is 1-9, 2-8, people start to quit. And people just start to check out and just not really give a shit. And especially with like O-line being like, you know, like if you're in high school, you're the high school quarterback and you like steal your left tackle's girlfriend, like he might just let you fucking get wrecked out of spite. Well, if Geno is really this bad of like a person that like these allegations, like, you know, like people could just get fed up with him and like he punched a teammate there once, like they might just not give a shit and just like let him get crushed again because they don't care. So like that's where I think down the stretch the O-line strength kind of falls off. The defense doesn't play as hard. It's just the cancer of the Jets.
Oh, like I'm not like I was just playing the devil's advocate for the pro case. Like there are worlds in which Geno Smith, if that behind a decent offensive line is okay, like and in those situations. Maybe the Jets overall schedule, like the defenses they play against is actually like a really solid schedule throughout the whole season. So if they have a functional offense, which is in doubt, like they could produce some good fantasy picks. Like if you want to be fully out, I get it. Like it is the Jets. But like I said, I was playing devil's advocate.
Yeah. I'm willing to side on just avoid the Jets.
Yeah,
but I get the talent argument. If he went anywhere else, I want him on the Bengals so fucking bad. If he was on the Bengals, he'd be a smash pick instantly, but he's just not. So it's the nature of the Jets.
I'm just glad he didn't end up on Kansas City. Like I think Sadiq going to Kansas City would have been the only pick I'd have been more upset about than us trading up for Mansour Delane.
That would have been funny. That would
like I think it was literally the only thing they could have done to be worse than what we did do. Because I was expecting us to take Delane. So trading up made it worse, but
okay. Pepper Tony correcting me. Geno is the one that got punched. So that's even worse to be the quarterback and get punched.
Well, at least he didn't swing back.
At least he has some restraint. They swung at me. I didn't swing back.
I'm the good guy here. I'm the good guy. I'm sure he said something to get punched. But all right, so let's move on.
Moving off of the gross Sadiq, we enter the glorious Dalton Schultz selection. Like in full PPR, like on drafters, like is this not like one of the best picks on the board?
It's such a good pick in every format. Like he only had 3 touchdowns last year on 84 catches and 100 and some targets, or 82 catches. But like that can regress to 5. And if he had 5, he would probably be getting drafted ahead of Hunter Henry. Like I'm not saying that it's right, but I think that
I have them right back to back. I think it's totally a fair thing to say. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, like I think like the problem is that it's a D'Amico Ryans led team who will grind out every win as close as they can, and getting David Montgomery doesn't make that any better. I have him at the bottom of the good tier. I think he's just a really, really good pick. I think he's kind of the last. Like I think there's like a tier here that there's a bunch of like really solid picks and then it dies. and he is
Yeah.
my favorite of that tier.
Yeah, with being at the tail end of that tier, especially just like the last the last
Yeah,
stop for like just you know exactly what you're gonna get, very safe production, and then like if he does score more touchdowns, you're just
That's,
in heaven. Yeah, it's definitely. I had him at the top of the fair tier, but I think based on ADP, if I'm gonna push down Chig, I think Schultz being much cheaper makes him just a straight up good pick.
yeah. So just so everybody's aware, at the beginning of this, I prefaced this whole thing with I do not love these 4 tight end builds as much as most people. I actually think that the value in this year's class, like I think there's value down the board, but I think that these top guys actually have separating ability to the other guys by a lot. So I think that like pushing tight end isn't as good this year as most years. Like I think that that's how it's going to play out. Maybe I'm completely wrong.
There you have such a safe option to get backups later that we're like you can just really put like if Schultz is your tight end 2 and you took Loveland, like you can still stop with that. You know, like
Yeah, yeah.
there's still such value in that.
Like
So
in years past, it was like you took Bowers Gasicki and stopped, and like Gasicki was most likely a 0.
yeah.
But I think we figured out that that's wrong.
I think moving forward though, there's really no one that gives me like ultimate confidence. And it's really just like I'm
There's
hoping for a random touchdown with this guy and like hopefully he
I
outperforms ADP, but I'm not expecting him to really move the needle.
I disagree with that. Like
Really?
I think there's two. I think the two that I have because I have 2 of them at the top of the fair tier that are left, and I
Oh
think that
yeah.
and I think those are really really good picks. And a lot of people are out on the top one, and the other
Well,
one is more of a yeah.
our
It's not
our
this
next
guy.
guy by ADP is not that guy,
Yeah,
but he's just next. I think Hawkinson is a really bad pick. I
yeah.
think he's an atrocious pick.
I have him at like I have him well in the middle of the bad picks. Like I
Yeah, he's washed.
maybe he's not looked great, but nobody looked great last year with 9. I get that. Kyler's history with throwing touchdowns to tight ends has me scared.
Yeah,
Could like this is one that I think could beat you though, like kind of.
I doubt it. I think there's
Like
too much there at receiver, and like he's just fallen off so much. Like they reworked his contract to not cut him. You know, like they're paying him a lot less, and he only had like 66 targets last season. Like he wasn't as involved
Yeah,
because he
but
just didn't do much with it. But I get your point on the McCarthy.
you could just throw all the stats out from last year and like look at what they're doing this year and stuff. And like I still think it's a bad pick because of Kyler. Like and Kyler's ability to throw touchdowns over the middle of the field because we know he's going to be playing in the middle of the field. And like Hawkinson's not going to be doing the deep stuff because they have Addison and Jefferson for that, right? So and they added another red zone style guy that plays on the outside in Jawan Jennings, which I think before that, I think he was a fine pick, but I think that actually makes him like significantly worse of a pick. And like the fact that he goes like ahead of these guys, like a lot of these other guys, like he's in the 160 still.
169 and a half is his ADP right now. Tight end 23.
Yeah,
it's not a good pick.
I don't think it's a great pick. I'll take him if I have a Jet or Kyler. I'll take him.
The only time I take him is when I have Kyler unstacked, and I always hate doing it. It's never fun. I kind of wish I had 0%. Honestly, I don't see him burning me.
So if I was into 4 tight ends, I would like the Hawkinson pick because like he is a guy who's going to give you a bunch of like 11 and 12-point weeks. Like it'll give you like 4 or 5 of those, and that's what those builds are just trying to not lose a tight end. That's all they're trying to do. They're trying to win at the other position and not lose a tight end. And he could be fine for those kind of builds. I don't like those builds. I think they're bad. We're going to see at the end of the day, like how it works out, how it doesn't work out. And like if those builds are good, Hawkins is going to end up being a good pick. If they're not, I don't see him being the guy you really needed. Like,
yeah, I lean towards just not seeing it. I just don't think Kyler will get him the ball enough when it matters.
Yeah,
I just
exactly.
And even Josh Oliver, I think, will be like schemed open in the red zone a little bit more consistent. Like I think it's still a little bit annoying that Oliver's there. So
Yeah.
I'm down to move on. And
All right. Yeah.
I agree on this player. You mentioned you still had a couple left. I do like AJ Barner quite a bit. I think he's in the
Yeah.
fair section as well.
Yeah, I have him at the top of fair is where I had him.
Okay.
I think the Seahawks are going to throw the ball more. I think their defense is going to be a lot worse. I think that they're going to like he has touchdown like the man of what 6'6", 6'8". He's huge.
Yeah, he's a beast. He had 6 receiving touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. Like he's not going anywhere.
The barnyard.
Arroyo just like I think he stayed off the field enough to the point where like it's kind of like the Kraft Musgrave situation where like despite our capital being higher elsewhere, like we just have the better player already that's proven it. So let's keep him on the field and not fuck with what works. I think Barner's not going anywhere.
Yeah, like, and they don't know what they're doing at running back yet. So like I just think everything lines up to them passing the ball more. And one of their better red zone weapons was Barner last year. He's at pick 180 or whatever. Like give me Barner every time over Hawkinson. Every time.
100%.
So like
100%.
You have anything to add?
Mostly the only concern I have is that Darnold regresses significantly without Kubiak. Like the play caller situation is the one area of like concern where like I really don't know what I'm gonna get from their offense, and like their defense just might be so good that like they could just win a lot of games with only like 17 points, and that's the one area of like sometimes tight ends really pop one year in touchdowns and the next year they just completely flounder. So that's the one area of concern, but like vis-a-vis Hawkinson, yeah, Barner to the moon. He's not a shaky pick at all. He's so cheap. He's at worst fair, if not good.
Yeah, I just don't see the Hawkinson like if like Hawkinson like I don't know, man. I'm having a really hard time with it, and maybe I'm wrong. Like I'm sure Steve is going to really dislike one of my rankings here in a bit, so we'll get to that when we get to it. We'll get.
All right, so we are getting close to the end. We still have a few more.
Yeah.
We might want to speed through some of these ones because there's not.
Yeah,
they're so late.
The next one is Gunnar Helm, right?
No, next up is Greg Dulcich. By ADP, it's Greg Dulcich. He goes as tight end 25, 178 off the board. He has been consistently rising, but personally, I only take him when I have Malik Willis, and I just want to justify it for the most part. I'm not that sold on Dulcich. I have him at like 6% exposure. I think he's fine, but I do think there's an element of this being pretty shaky, if not just straight up bad. He's never actually proven it. So if you want to keep him, you're a little bit lower than I am. If you want to keep him in the bad tier, I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah, I mean that hair though. Maybe he's in the fair tier.
No, the hair, man, the hair is pretty sweet. The mustache as well. Like true like Spaniard vibes, like bullfighter.
Yeah, maybe I can be convinced.
If he twirled the mustache, would you be in?
Yeah, I'm like smashed here. Smashed. Yeah, we. I just don't.
Furthermore,
like it's more about the Dolphins. Like the Dolphins offense, no touchdowns. Like Malik Willis, his like part of the Chig talk was about Malik Willis and how he hasn't played with any good quarterbacks. I don't believe that Malik Willis is going to be a solid thing. I do take him when I take Malik Willis. Like I actively pull him up the board when I take Malik because I think that he is like he might be the number one weapon for them, but like I don't know.
How valuable
I have a real,
is that? Like it's not going to be that worth it. It's just because the bar is so low at tight end where like if you actually convince yourself he's getting 90 targets, it's like, oh well yeah, let's do this. But like 3 touchdowns max, I don't. He was on his couch for half the season.
I just don't see him outperforming these other people like very often. Like
yeah. a
like
random 13-pointer, but like only 2 touchdowns on the season, so it's not anything you can trust.
I don't know. I think he's a bad pick. I think he's been a bad pick. I mean, there's even talk that Darren Waller's not done, and if he goes there back, like it's super hilarious.
Yeah, that would be a killer if
Yeah.
that happens.
I don't
Yeah.
know if it's true, but I've heard that like Darren Waller wants to play again. I don't. Well, I've seen videos of him working out, saying that he wanted to play.
If I had to guess, he's not going back to the Dolphins though. Like he's trying to get some relevance, but I could be wrong.
I mean, if he wants relevance, he has to go to the Dolphins.
I mean, like be on a team that's relevant.
By the way, speaking of the points per game last year that you were talking about with the guys between 9 and 8.5, one of those was actually Darren Waller.
Yeah, no, Darren Waller was clutch. He only played 9 games, but he had 6 touchdowns. That's the only reason why.
Yeah.
He killed it on a touchdown standpoint.
All right.
Same as Loveland on points per game.
I don't like a lot of these picks. Like I kind of think that most of the bad picks could be moved up to the shaky tier as well. Like I had a hard time, like in all honesty, like the tiers, like you can almost move every single player up a whole tier. Like based on true feelings.
Naming any of the tiers as negative on this position is kind of hard.
Yeah, it really is. So like, but we're doing this.
Yeah, based on color coordination, I think it's it goes from really get the green light, or you just get like just really ice cold picks that are gonna really
like
pay
in
off.
comparison to the other picks. I think it's a bad pick.
Yeah,
it's kind of where it's at.
Yeah, and speaking of someone right behind him, Gunnar Helm.
Yeah,
you are very high.
Yeah, he's my last person in the fair tier, and I believe that offense is going to be a lot better. I think they're going to score a lot more touchdowns. Maybe I'm wrong. If they don't massively improve it in offense, I'm going to lose a lot of money this year.
I think, go ahead.
I do have Barner. Like I know they're one spot difference in my rankings, but I do have Barner like significantly ahead of him. Like I think that Gunnar Helm, like I have him one spot ahead of Hunter Henry, but it's because he's 30 picks cheaper. And I think that like he is, I mean, the man did really well last year for being on a team that did nothing. And like him and Chig both had some okay games, right? Like, but that team wasn't really functional. So I think that with a full offseason with Cam Ward and a Cam Ward year 2 with a offensive line that's still not going to be great, but at least they're going to be coached better. Like, I think that that's a big deal for him.
I think it's fair to expect him to get better. Last year he had 55 targets. Chig had 79. So those will be going up. He had the same amount of touchdowns as Chig as well. So like that's already a good sign. Maybe in the red zone he has more trust.
Right.
But
I think
I will push back a little bit, Hoohames, where like it kind of feels a little bit like the Brenton Strange argument, where like just by the nature of it being so crowded and he's going to stay on the field, like it becomes a more obvious pick. But like the bet on the Jags is so much more compelling than the bet on the Titans. And I do like the Brian Dable tight end, but he also brought in Bellinger with him. Like there is one element of like, could he maybe not be on the field as much as I think? I don't really fear Bellinger, but I do just fear the touchdowns just aren't really there in the Titans offense because it's so crowded. There's going to be so much volume for not just Tate, but Wandale too. If they don't trade Ridley, then like how many targets are there actually available to go around in the red zone on a team that won't really score many touchdowns? So that's my pushback on more of a shaky pick. But I think at cost, it's very fair.
Yeah. So the cost for me, the cost is like, I think he's like priced at his floor, basically.
Yeah.
Because like he's
26,
because he's priced at the floor.
Yeah.
And like we know he's going to have some sort of a role, but I think he's got upside attached to that role. So that's why I really like the pick. Like I think some of these guys down here at the bottom are priced at the floor and they have floor, but they have no upside. And that's what separates like AJ Barner and Gunnar Helm to me from these other guys. And like that's kind of where I'm at with Hawkinson. Like I don't think he has much ceiling, but I think he's priced like well for floor. And like Dulcich, I also don't see the ceiling. Like if any of those has ceiling that I'm wrong on, it's probably Dulcich, to be honest. Like, but I'm just so down on the Dolphins as a team that I don't see that. So like it's more that I think that Helm has a floor of playing time on an offense, going to be the guy in the red zone. But I think that if the offense moves up, I think that he could ascend to being like at this price, like 600 yards and 5 touchdowns is awesome, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And like that's what like I think that he's like reasonably could get that outcome. So
yeah.
that's just where I'm at. Like I don't think he's like a super smash pick. I just think that he's a very solid pick, and like I don't like. I think worst case scenario, he's like 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, which isn't great, but like it's pick 180.
Yeah, it's so cheap. It's totally fine. I mostly
Yeah.
only do it when it's stacked with Cam Ward at this point. My
Yeah.
exposure to uh, Gunnar Helm is actually I've taken him. Where the fuck is he? Oh, I've taken him 6% of the time. It's a fine click to me, but I mostly try to do it stacked up.
I mean, my I'm only 7.5%, but I'm usually heavy on tight end.
Gotcha. Our next player is Cade Otton, who I think is just a straight up bad pick.
Me too.
I just don't see the upside.
Yeah.
Like it's so injury dependent, and like, you know, touchdowns are fluky. The only way it burns me if he's a random like 7 touchdown season, but like he's maxed out at 4. Last year he had 1. I just don't see it because they just keep drafting receivers, and like Baker wants to push it down the field. You can get volume if somebody gets hurt, but Baker's not really looking to him in the red zone.
Yeah, as I said earlier, I think that the Chig or the who were we talking about a little bit ago? Oh, the Liam Cohen. It was the Brenton Strange thing. Like I think that the touchdown stuff with tight ends is more of a Baker stat than a Liam Cohen stat. I don't
possibly definitely,
and I think that if their wide receivers are healthy, they're going to throw the ball to the wide receivers and not him. Last year, they didn't throw a tight end touchdown until week 13. Like, and that was when Baker was hurt. I think they threw 2 the entire season. Like, I get it. They had some weird things going on in the offense, but
yeah,
I just think that like at this point, like Cade Otton, there are some fun clicks down here that have really, really high upside, but a lower chance to hit. And all of those picks to me are more fun and more likely to assist your team than Cade Otton. If you're at this point in the draft and Cade Otton helps your team, you've probably lost. Like what's 3 9-point games going to do for you? 3 9-point games and 1 14-point game. Like you probably lost already if you look at Cade Otton and say this is going to help my team. Like that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, the only justification for it is like the Hawkinson click, where it's because you have a Baker stack and you just need someone, but it's not the stack you should be targeting by any means. Yeah, we're both down on it. I fully agree. Next up is Terrence Ferguson, and we're both kind of in lockstep. Actually, we both have him as the top of the shaky tier. By composite, I'm a little higher on Gadsden than you, so he would come in right behind Gadsden. But I think based on price, I think the argument over Gadsden is totally legit.
So like, he's only in the shaky tier for me because it's a shaky bet.
Yeah, they have so many. They have so many tight ends.
They have all these tight ends, and like him and Stafford didn't have a connection last year, but his ADOT was 18.7 or whatever. They tried him down the field. They haven't added anybody. That's going to be the same role. They're going to get a play again, but we don't know if Stafford's going to be able to get that connection with him again this year. Like we assume it will, but it's a shaky bet. Now, it is a bet that if it hits, it's an absolute nutter smash. But it doesn't make it a a solid bet. Like it's just a shaky bet overall. Like I like the bet a lot. Like I really like this bet. That doesn't make it like a smash. Like
The risk is baked into the price though, and that's where
yeah,
it's like, okay, it's arguably a good pick, but
yeah. Like I
because of the
think
nature of how crowded they are and how many targets he's actually going to like, Colby Parkinson could be the smash once again. That's where it's not the most obvious and
it
compelling. It's not
it
guaranteed.
the only reason it's shaky is because there's a non-zero. Like there's a reasonable chance that he's a full zero.
Yeah,
And I think that's in like less than 50% of years, like simulations, but like that hurts. It doesn't matter where you're drafting it, like because like he's going around the Dulcich range, and like the thing about Dulcich is he's not going to be a zero.
hmm
Like, and the T Ferg bet he could be a zero. Like Otten won't be a zero. He's also not going to be a 20, but like you know, uh,
yeah. The-
so like I that's just where I landed with him. Like
If they if they
I could
didn't
be
draft,
talked into a lot of picks with Terrence Ferguson. I like the bet. I really like the bet, but it doesn't ever feel strong when you make it. You feel
if they
like
did if they didn't draft Max Clare, I think we would feel so much better about it.
or re-sign Tyler Higbee.
Yeah. The
Like
five
which
tight
one?
end room,
Yeah,
both together, but especially I think the
yeah.
drafting is just another sign of like, well,
Oh,
how much do they trust him?
if neither one of those pick or one of those like going into the offseason, like in January when I did my original ranks, I had Terrence Ferguson at 140
Yeah, last year I was
because
all in on T Ferg.
yeah,
I thought he was such a smash. I
be,
took him so many
but
different
then they drafted Max Clare and re-signed Tyler Higbee, and I'm like, well, this sucks. With this, so
Yeah,
all
it's just
right,
Sean McVay just going
yeah,
Swiss Army knife, like, oh, we'll beat you with this one this week, next
yeah.
one, the next week, and just it'll be a rotating basis. You won't know who is coming at you. But I will say this: the week when Adams got hurt, that first week when he went down, they really tried to spotlight Tiefer. Like he had 3 end zone targets. He dropped one of them. Another one was called back by penalty. He did catch one, but like, had he smashed in that 1 week where they tried to really develop him, I think he might be a more obvious, compelling pick. But just because they tried to do that, it's his rookie season. I think they can, forgive it a little bit. I still expect him to be at the top of the pecking order on the tight end depth chart this year. So yeah,
Yeah.
we could argue for a fair pick as well, but shaky
Yeah.
top of that tier, I think is totally fine. Next up though, this was an interesting one. I'm much higher on Fryermuth than you are. I think he's a fair pick. You do not.
Yep. I have.
You think he's straight up bad.
I've went all around on the. I started the offseason. Like I started post draft thinking he was a good pick, and I'm fully like, I continually just move him down and down in my ranks. I just don't. I think that they're going to run 11 personnel and they're going to do a lot of like throwing to receivers, not so much to tight end. I know that Aaron Rodgers has historically had a tight end that's done really well. Darnell Washington lost 50 pounds, man.
I didn't
And
realize that, but it's still not
like he's
that's
down
scary
to
me.
270 or whatever. Like he's
Yeah,
not an offensive lineman anymore. He's actually a tight end. Like this guy was huge. He's still huge. He's still 6'7". Like he's
Yeah.
still a matchup nightmare. This guy's got to be able to actually maybe outrun some people now on top of it. I think that down the stretch that it's going to end up being Darnell Washington. Like I believe that it was 50 pounds that they said that he lost. But like the Fryermuth bet, like if Darnell Washington like was told he needed to like get in better shape to get more run and he did that, like that's not good for Fryermuth because Fryermuth, yes, Arthur Smith is gone, but is that really good for tight ends? Like it's probably not great for tight ends, but they're also not going to use 5 of them. And I think that they're going to rotate those 2. Question is which one ends up with the lion's share. I think it's going to end up being like Darnell Washington in the end. I fought this for a while, but the fact that this is the old both of these players I think are very similar. One of them is drafted in every single draft. One of them is not. The one that is not, to me, is the better pick because of variance.
I, I'm willing to maybe acknowledge I'm too low on Darnell Washington, but I just don't think Washington will ever overtake Fryermuth. And the way I look at it is like him and Jonnu Smith had the same targets last season, and he had double the production. Fryermuth was tight end 30 in points per game. And with Jonnu gone, I do think his volume goes up a little bit. I don't really look at Mike McCarthy and his play calling as a guy that wants to use multiple tight ends. So either I'm
Yeah.
just really wrong on Darnell Washington, or I just think it's pretty inevitable that Fryermuth pays off his ADP. Like I said, he's tight end 29 in terms of cost, 192 off the board, and he was tight end 30 in points per game. So if nothing changes from last year, he is a fair pick, and I just don't really see him getting run off the field by Darnell Washington. So that's where I stand
yeah,
on it. I'm just not a believer in Washington the same way you are.
I wasn't, and I've been coming around to it. So,
At
like
worst, I think they're like back to back. I don't think Washington could be better than Fryermuth.
I think putting him in the fair tier is he's one of those like, man, I don't know. I have him in the bad tier, but it's mostly like what the way I'm looking at it, and maybe this is just wrong, and we're probably looking at this just in a different way. Like, which one of these players do I want in week 16, 15, 16, 17 that are going to spike to beat you? Like, am I scared? Do I think Pat Fryermuth is a guy that's going to kill me? Absolutely not. Like, could he be a guy that assists you throughout the season and gets you through? Could he be a guy that, like, on
That's
a
the way I see
roster,
it.
that absolutely smashes, like, does just enough for you to advance, like, because he gets you 13 points in week 16, like, that's just enough to get you through. Like, yes, he could do that, but could he be the reason that's going to separate you in a playoff pod? I don't think so.
Probably
And
not,
and
but he did have like that huge game against the Bengals last year where like it's possible if it was the Bengals matchup though. But
it was the Bengals matchup. It's a new offense. They're going to play a lot of 11. Michael Pittman's going to get a lot more in the red zone. I think him and Pittman, true. like Darnell Washington is like, or DK Metcalf was using the red zone a lot last year, and like that connection's still there. I don't like the Metcalf price, but like he did get used in the red zone. That isn't leaving. Michael Pittman's going to get used a bunch. They have two very capable running backs that can both catch the ball as well out of the backfield.
It's crowded.
And like
you make a good point.
And like we don't expect this team to score 45 to 50 touchdowns. Like, do we? Like,
no.
So like I think it's very crowded. I think that like if Fryermuth does what he did last year with 486 yards, 41 receptions, and 4 touchdowns, like he's a solid pick there. But is that something that would beat you in a playoff pod? Like I don't. In almost every simulation of a seat, like if you were to simulate seasons, like how many times is that going to be the pick to beat you? And like the way that I've looked at a lot of these picks, that's how I'm looking at it. And that's like, if I think that these other picks like Loveland and Kraft and Goddard are really good picks, Goddard had multiple 20, like he had a couple 20-point games last year, right? Like Kraft was smashing, Loveland was smashing in the playoffs. Like, how often are these other players? And yes, the value is there. Like 13 points in round 18 is good, but you still have to make up those like 6 points that Loveland scored on you somewhere.
I don't see him as the piece you need in week 17, but I see him as a good advance piece. And for that reason,
there's nothing wrong with that. There is a room for that. So the way I'm looking at it is more through that glass. And like, that's kind of why like all of these players are what they are. And that's why I don't like Otten at all. Like the same reason I don't like Otten is why I don't like Fryermuth. The same reason I don't like Hawkinson is the same kind of thing. I don't see in the postseason week, like, do I think any of these guys put up 22 points and actually beat you? I don't think any of them can, other than Isaiah Likely, and that is a full cost based thing.
Yeah.
Like Isaiah Likely could do that, but at cost, I think he's a bad pick whenever all those other picks go way after him that could kind of do the same thing. And
You,
like, so like that's where I'm at. Like, but you weren't looking at this the same way I was. And the way you're looking at it, I think that he's a fair price. Like
I
like
think you
if you
have sold me though on the risk factors that I may not have been acknowledging a little bit. And from a true spike week standpoint, I do think you make a very legit pick where he's probably not one of the guys that does burn you. So
yeah,
I'm
and like
happy to just settle him here in the
if
shaky tier, and
if
maybe
we're
not
gonna
like specifically right
yeah,
here, maybe little bit
that,
lower.
I mean
But
that's fine.
I think it fits in decently
Like
well.
and like this kind of goes in with like why I have Darnell ranked in the shaky tier and not Fryermuth. Like I don't really think that the Pittsburgh tight end is like the thing that's going to separate you. But do I think it's something that could get you a couple like 13-point weeks? Yeah. But I I'm I'm kind of like fully in that it's 50-50 one or the other, and one of them is drafted 100% of the time and the other one is not. So
That's a fair point.
in that situation, like by playing and doing well in the dailies last year, like the times I did well were the times that I'm like, hey, well, this player's drafted all the time. This player's not. Let's add Juwan Johnson. Oh, Juwan Johnson randomly went for a big spike. Like, because, like, and like, I get it, it's kind of different, but like, it's the same thing because you're looking for the guy who's going to get you the 13 to 15 points. It's probably slightly more like, even if it's 65% of the time that it's Fryermuth and 35% of the time that it's Darnell Washington. Well, when Fryermuth's 100% drafted and Darnell Washington is only drafted in 30% of drafts, the math says you want Darnell Washington.
Yeah, that is a valid. The undrafted piece, the scroll down does have that extra element
Yeah.
of success. So, if anything, you've convinced me to maybe take more Darnell Washington. I'm not upset though with
Like,
my Fryermuth jersey because he's so cheap. He's so valuable. He also used to be
yeah,
much
like
cheaper.
there's
And
definitely rooms that I look at Fryermuth. I'm like, yeah, let's take him. Like, you got Rogers or you have Cam
yeah,
Ward, and like
if you're high on
it's a
Rodgers, it's a
correlated
much better bet.
piece. Like,
Yeah,
like I think it's a lot better with Rogers than it is with Cam Ward because I don't see him being the separating piece. Could it happen? Yeah, it could. Like he's had big weeks in the past, and Aaron Rodgers made Robert Tunyon look like a god. You know, like uh, so
yeah.
that
I doubt we'll get a Tunyon season, but
yeah.
it could be better than last year for sure.
So I'm just kind of like a lot of these late tight ends. I think that a lot of those tight ends in the good, the smash, the fair tier. I think one of those like absolutely puts up 20 plus points in like every week in the postseason. One of those will. And do I think that these other guys are going to be able to get there? Like that, you're not asking them to because like you're trying to make up the points with the player you drafted. Like you're trying to make Waddle the pick. If you didn't take if you got Fryermuth versus Loveland, like you want Waddle to go for 30 points, and that's how you beat Loveland's price, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I get that it's kind of a different bet, but I also think that in theory, like most of the time, that's not working if they don't hit 20 points. Like,
Yeah, I think we probably spoke on it
yeah.
enough. I
And
hear your
like,
point.
yeah, we don't have to go over that again with Darnell because I kind of just went over Darnell
Yeah, we
in the
kind of
same
talked about
talk.
both.
Like, because I have Darnell at the, we could just plop him up there if you don't mind. Like,
Yeah,
I have him at the bottom of the shaky tier. So, like, I think putting both of them in the shaky tier makes sense. But like, I like him more than Fryermuth just because, like, he's low owned.
because he's undrafted, I think that's fair. But I think there's also just the world where he just doesn't do anything
I
as
don't think
well.
there's those worlds.
I
I think that he's going, like, I think that there's just as much of a world that Fryermuth doesn't do anything as there is for Darnell Washington. Like, they
I,
love him.
I'm not quite there, but I could see your point, especially if he did lose that much weight, then his role should be shifting.
Let me.
I can put him there. You've kind of sold me on it a little bit, but it's very shaky. It's definitely not a fair pick. I think it's still very shaky to the point where like if it is as crowded as you're saying, even if he does pay off, like is it more just the case that neither of them have any value, or like one of them is actually worth it? I think it's more so like
Okay.
he could just crater Fryermuth to the point where they both suck
All,
that much.
all right. Dart AI overview. Darnell Washington has reportedly lost between 20 and 47 pounds. It's a pretty wide range.
That's a pretty big difference.
Ahead of the 2026 season. So he's closer to 264 or 290. So like like the man was 320 pounds, like playing tight end.
Yeah,
So
well, if he's 290, it's still
if he's 6'7", 290, he's still a monster.
yeah. Well, that's
Right.
where you want him on the line. You know,
Yeah.
like I still view him as more of a lineman than you do. I think, but
Maybe.
with Jonnu out, I think it's a fair, reasonable assumption that like he will factor in. It's not like they hate him or anything. They like him, so yeah, they give him the contract. You've convinced me it's less risky than I originally thought. We'll put him at the end of shaky.
Yeah.
I had to mix up a lot of sizes there, but it took me long enough.
So like a lot of the bad picks like are the ones in the bad tier, by the way, for everybody that's just popping in, like it's just the guys that we've agreed on that were bad.
Yeah.
A lot of the other ones are like that one of us had in the bad tier, the other one had it like fair or shaky. And
yeah, this is the average of where we stood.
Yeah, this is the average. So like I don't have like I have way more people in the bad tier than this. So most of them
you
are
had
like
Jake Ferguson in the bad tier. You also had Fryermuth in the bad tier. You also had Likely in the bad tier. I wanted Fannin in the bad tier. I wanted Sadiq in the bad tier. And then I kind of wanted Gunnar Helm a little bit lower too.
This guy right here is
terrible.
Maybe like he's my next to last worst pick. Basically,
yeah, this is a really bad pick.
I've been talking about this for a while. Like I haven't got in on the Eric All stuff, but I've been very aware that it was very possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I've taken him a couple times in the 20-round formats, but I've not really taken Gesicki. Like I've taken Gesicki once or twice in 18 rounds with Joe Burrow, but like I hated it every time. And I think that like I think that they want to move on from him.
Yeah, the Dolphins moved off of him. He's really kind of a one-trick pony. He doesn't block. He's really only there when Higgins goes down. And they already use a tight end by committee. They have Drew Sample. They have Tanner Connor. And now they got Eric All. So, yeah, I don't see it as a safe bet. It's more of a tight end committee than anything else.
Yeah, so we don't really have to go in on it.
No,
like everybody,
bad pick. Eli Stowers.
He's priced as a bad pick too.
Yeah. Eli Stowers, I think, is a terrible pick. I have him even lower.
Yeah, I have him very low too. Like,
I don't get it. I just don't get it. There might be a random camp report that says he's relevant, but I just don't see him ever overtaking Goddard. I don't get it.
Well, the theory isn't that he overtakes Goddard; it's that he makes that he basically wide receiver 3.
I still don't get
like
it.
Like wide receiver 3 for Jalen Hurts doesn't seem like super attractive.
Yeah,
me.
No, the offense particularly fuck that.
So like I think he's an awesome dynasty pick and a horrible best ball pick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's
see
where
that.
I'm at. I think he's a 2-year away guy.
Yeah, he's a guy that changing positions basically. Yeah. The rookie tight ends have paid off historically lately to the point where people are just forcing it, but I just don't see it. I think the landing spot was bad. That they signed Goddard, he's just been so consistent. Hurts loves him. The only bet, in my opinion, is if Goddard gets hurt. And he has gotten hurt a few times, but a broken arm isn't the most consistent thing to repeat. Goddard, I think, will be fine. So I just don't understand the fixation on Stowers. I think maybe next year, but not this year.
So Sadiq had I think he's only 2 years. He's only played tight end for 2 years. He played quarterback the year before that. So the reason they like him he's one of the worst blocking tight end blockers to ever come out of college because he's a quarterback.
Yeah, he's
So
not a player I want to bet on. You want
yeah,
to move on?
yeah, yeah. We're good.
Next up is Colby Parkinson, who we both have at the top of the.
I have him at the bottom of shaky, but
Oh yeah, we both have him at the bottom of shaky, but based on composite, he actually comes in as the top of bad.
Okay.
So
he's just a pick. He's a pick. He's the Pat Fryer, in my opinion. He's the Pat Fryermuth bet on a much better offense.
that's a pretty reasonable way to put it. I think that's pretty reasonable. I think because of the assumption that T Ferg is going to take a leap, it's kind of reasonable to assume that Parkinson will not be as involved on the goal line. But it's there's a world where he just has the same role as last year, and we're fading him too hard.
Yeah.
But I think if we're viewing the Rams tight end room collectively as very risky, then there can only be one that you really feel confident in, and I just don't think it's Parkinson.
And Steve sticking up for his boy Gesicki, or Meg's boy Gesicki.
Far more likely to be receiver 3 for Bengals than Stowers.
I don't disagree, and I just don't think
it needs an injury, in my opinion, to until he's the number 2 option on a given week. He just hasn't really performed in a way where I trust him. But if you told me T Higgins goes down, I'm starting Gesicki instantly.
Well, right, he needs an injury to not Burrow. Yeah.
I mean, maybe Flacco could make it work, but not to a point where you feel confident.
I really believe that Eric All and him will at minimum split time. And if an injury happens, maybe Gesicki becomes wide receiver 3, like he's saying, but I don't see him beating out Yoshi, straight up.
Probably not.
Tinsley has flashed in the past. Which one do I want? I don't know. Maybe there are outs, but it requires injuries.
Yeah, not the bet I want to be making.
Yeah.
But
all right, so next we're close to the darts. There's a couple of them I'll read off the bottom of my bad tier here. Evan Ingram to me is undraftable. End of story, undraftable. They didn't like him they didn't draft him last year, or they didn't use him last year, and he was supposed to be the guy. They liked him so little that Adam Trautman came in and stole goal line work.
What if I just make him much smaller like that? How about that?
If Evan Ingram beats me, great. I'm fine with the bet. I'm fine with where it is.
I'm fine full fading him as well.
Yeah, another one of those
if it was full PPR, maybe, but nah, I'm fine ignoring it.
Yeah, so David Njoku, I think, is just a bad pick now.
Yeah, it's a bad pick.
Tight end 3, he got paid no money. It is an offense. It requires an injury, maybe 2, to be fine.
I think there's a world where he mixes in more than you think, but I don't think there's ever a world where he just dominates. And so, yeah, I would put him. I would put him here.
I think
maybe
I think he's a bad pick because so the only reason I have him as a bad pick is because he's drafted in a lot of drafts. If he was a low owned dart, maybe, but he's not. He's drafted a lot.
I do still think that just by the nature of the Chargers and Mike McDaniel's tight end, if he does get the job, if you told me Gadsden went down, we would be starting David Njoku those weeks for sure. The upside would be that Darren Waller production. I could totally see that, and that's where I'm not fully sold that it's an atrocious pick, but there's a reason why he's never moved up the board, and it's more so just an annoyance to Gadsden than a true threat to steal his job.
Yeah. We're about to the controversial pick.
Yeah, we're very we got Michael Mayer next up.
He's just a dart for me.
Yeah, same.
I think he's fine. Like he's a dart. He's not drafted all the time. If Bowers goes, like he might have standalone value. Like it's perfectly fine. Um, so like he's a dart. He's a fun dart though.
Yeah. Let me move something.
I
real
don't take
quick.
I don't really take him ever. But I'm also heavier into the top tight ends. So
Yeah, I don't think I've never taken Michael Mayer, but I understand the argument.
I have taken him, but I'm doing a lot on DK. So
Okay.
I actually took Eric All uh, yesterday with Mendoza on my team and no Burrow. It's because I realized I hadn't taken All yet, so I took All. So Eric All is a dart that I like. Like I don't know if you like the dart or not. I think that like because of low ownership and stuff, he's fine.
Yeah, with low ownership, now that I've been talking myself out of Gesicki more, I think just like your Darnell Washington argument, if
Yeah.
he's undrafted, now it becomes an interesting, possibly good pick.
And
But
especially in
I
stuff
still
like
think it's a committee. I still think there's no clear, like, true tight end
So
one there.
I think if you get in a new time box and he starts getting drafted like in 70% of drafts, like he's less appealing. But I think in like BBM that's like 50% filled or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
like he's only going to be able to be on like 49% of teams. So like I think it's a much better pick and I don't think he'll ever be that high. So
No, it's fine. It's not. I don't want 3%. I'll be fine with
yeah.
one, but it's fine. Theo Johnson, though, you are significantly higher than I am. I'll say that.
I have him in the tier above Isaiah Likely. Sorry, Pepperoni.
Yeah, no, you have
Like
him in the shaky tier.
when you can take a guy in the very last round that's also a reception like a receiving tight end for an offense with a quarterback that does like to throw it, but he's literally undrafted half the time, and Isaiah Likely is drafted at like 70 or 80 picks ahead of him. Like I just give me the low owned guy that also has a chance to get 17 to 18 points in a week. Who's more likely to do it? Definitely Likely. But the cost matters a lot. The cost really matters.
Yeah.
And like the problem is that he had 7 drops last year, which is scary. Like that is scary. We're not going to talk about that. Like I mean it does matter. It does matter. But like and that could be one reason they're moving on. Or like
no,
they
he could have been
Likely
so much better
because
if he didn't drop those passes.
Oh yeah,
a lot of them were in the red zone too, or if not the end zone.
Yeah,
he could have been so much better.
I mean, people don't talk about Tedero McMillan straight up dropping 3 touchdowns that were hitting him right in the hand. Like they want to talk about how Bryce Young can't throw the ball well. Well, Tedero McMillan like was awesome last year, but he dropped 3 balls, hit him right in the hands of the red zone. 2 of them was in a week that I had him in DFS, like very heavy. But like Theo Johnson to me, it's the low owned angle here. It's an in on Jackson Dart. Isaiah Likely is just mispriced, so it's a way into the offense.
I was so low that the averages put him in the bad tier. But
that's fine.
Honestly, I could see him be better than Isaiah Likely though, so I wouldn't mind moving it to the top of the bad tier if you want.
Like
that's fine with me.
I'll put it this way: 50% of this is like true feelings, and 50% of this is like just poking the bear. Just like I'm not gonna lie, like it's 50% poking the bear, 50% how I actually feel.
Well, in that vein,
yeah,
let's poke the bear.
Let's poke the bear.
if you were upset that Likely was in the bad tier already, then let's really piss you off.
Yeah.
Neither are good picks, but you should be taking Theo instead.
Yeah, that's right. I was also bullish on Theo before Likely signed. Maybe it's copium. A lot of people, the haters will say it's copium. The Isaiah Likely Bulls will say it's copium. I just think that like between the two of them, they're probably going to be like 9 to 11 touchdowns, which isn't bad. And I do think that Likely probably scores more of them. But I think that like it's more like 7-5 than it is 9-3. You know, like
Yeah.
I think that I think it's closer to 50-50 than they would want to believe. And I do think the yards is in favor of Likely. I just think that Isaiah Likely at 121 or whatever is too high. And that I
That's
want
fair.
the upside swing at the back end there if I'm going to be in on the Giants.
Well, you want to go true degen. You want the scroll down that nobody else
Yeah.
had. You want to have fun.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I like to have fun with Tonjes a little
Tonjes.
bit. I actually think Tonjes is one of my favorite darts, man. Like I was saying it with the Kittle argument. Like
I get
I
it.
think Tonjes proved something last year. I think with that luxury, Shanahan's gonna be like, all right, fine. Like let's beat you with Tonjes because we can. I don't think Shanahan gives a fuck. And like Tonjes was good enough to like if you started Tonjes in week 17 because Kittle went down, you had a top 10 play. Like Tonjes can be. He had 5 touchdowns last year. He can really deliver. That's so. I want to put him in the dark category, but you didn't have him listed.
I
think you understand the argument though.
No, like I think he's a fine dart. So my argument against it is it's all of the other plays to me aren't fully contingent plays. Like I went back and I looked, and it's literally fully a contingent play on Tonjes. He had like 1 reception for no touchdowns max. Like I think he had a touch, like a 1 reception, 1 touchdown game with Kittle, but it was like 6.4 points or something. Like,
yeah, it was worthless.
Like it was I think it was 6.6.
Yeah, 6.6 is the minimum.
It was 6 point. I think it was 6.6 because it was a 1-yard touchdown with Kittle play. So he was really good, and that just means that the tight end for the Niners is an awesome play. That's all that means. And
that's where I think the argument on Mayer comes in, where that's purely contingent.
I don't think so. Mayer did a little bit here and there with Bowers on the field. Like now, if Bowers is full strength, maybe not. But like if Bowers is full strength, they definitely didn't add receiver. Like I think he has a little bit of upside even with Bowers on the field. I think Eric All, like he's a position battle thing. I think Theo has a little bit of like that. That's why I didn't have him listed, because it's a contingent bet. It's a strong contingent bet, though.
Yeah, the chance that the contingent works out, I think, is what elevates him above someone that has a little bit more standalone value, because like the chances that Kittle does miss is so much more likely than almost any other player.
I disagree, because like the Achilles thing was kind of a fluke.
But he's missed time like year over year. Like
he has.
He's not like, giving you more than 15 games in a while. But when he's on the field, you don't need anything from time.
He definitely has. So, but as a contingent bet, like it's, if you want a full contingent tight end, like he is the number 1 guy.
Yeah. So
I get it. All right. What else we got?
Kolar, the Kolar bear. Is it just like trolling by the guys that make the Sims?
I'm in on him as a dart.
I'm not.
The reason why is because like he's going to be on the field in the red zone stuff. He actually like looked okay the few times he was throwing the ball in Baltimore. Like the very few times he was throwing the ball in Baltimore, he did look okay as a receiver. Like if Gadsden is a flop, it could just be like they actually went out and got him. Like,
yeah, the contract is the only thing, but like, I think he's a blocker, man. I think he's just like more.
I think most likely that's true, and like I think that like as a low-owned dart, I don't hate it, but like it's kind of the Pat Freiermuth thing. Like at most, he's going to give you 12 to 13 points. He's not going to separate, but like if you're taking Kolar, it's probably just to stack with Herbert to help get you through some of the regular season. But he's not drafted the 100%. So like I don't hate it as much.
I
And
wouldn't
I do
take
think
him.
that there's like
I don't see the yards there for him.
I think that he has a sneak like I think there's a small chance that he's actually good as a receiver. And he like think about like the people ahead like he's got two tight ends that go before pick 130 that he was behind last year. So like what if that was the whole thing holding them back? Now he's on a team that only has Gadsden, who the market is like very like we're out on him, right? Like we're kind of like
Yeah, but when you look at the Ravens last year, like likely missed time and then was pretty dog shit when he was healthy, and Kolar still didn't do anything.
yeah,
Like I just haven't seen enough from him to have any confidence. The contract is the
uh,
only fucking thing that like makes me think I could be wrong and just not giving him any respect. But I
there
just
was a
it man. I just don't
there
see
was a really big like he had this like really crazy like 40-yard touchdown or whatever like that the likely people were mad about because it should have been likely uh if I remember right. But like
I don't
he looked
recall.
okay in that one play. Like and like we just he never really got another chance. So like
Yeah,
I
I'd just
don't
be
do I
shocked.
think it's a very good but like a great dart? No. But it is one that I'm willing to click.
I can hear you out on it a little bit. The
Yeah, like
contract does pose a question in my mind. I will say that
yeah.
it's annoying, but I just don't believe it.
Like
Um,
and he's drafted a lot less than Njoku, so I'm there.
yeah.
All right.
Our next guy by ADP is Eli Raridan. We have one player after this, but I mean I sold Hunter Henry with my full, heart and
Yeah.
soul. There is no part of that equation that believes Raridan will be relevant his rookie season. So, um,
He is you are way behind at tight end 20 round format. Hail Mary.
okay, I have no pushback on that, but
Like like
it's
he's like
it's the contingent play
you
like
got boxed out like I was in a room on DK the other day that all the tight ends down to Britton Strange were gone at pick 112. And it's like
well at that point give
you
me
just
give me
like in those
Tonjet.
rooms it's like well I guess I'll take like Mayor Raridan and Eric Hall and just call it good. Like, like if
What
you hadn't taken one already, like if you didn't take an elite, like what do? Do you take Dalton Schultz at 125 or do you push and hope that they continue not to do it? Like, guess what? Those rooms, they continue to take them. Like you're looking at bad picks.
Well, I would rather
Like
go in this direction. I would rather go
I'm,
with Cole Komet.
well,
I'd rather take
yeah,
Komet as
me
my available.
too, but you have to take 4 at that point. So like I in that one scenario, you take all 4 of these bottom guys. Like
You gotta have you're gonna get something, but
yeah,
boy,
I actually think the
boy.
Cole Komet one is a
No, the more I think
it's
about it,
he's an underrated pick here. Like if
yeah.
he's produced pretty well. We believe that they're going to run a lot of 12. Like they've told us they're going to run a lot of 12. They were top 10, I believe 6th in the league last year in 12 personnel. And that was when Loveland, like a lot of that was Loveland wasn't even healthy. Like they're going to run a lot of 12 with Komet and Loveland. Like and Komet is probably going to be like he's not drafted very often. And do I think he's going to smash very often? No. But if Loveland gets hurt, he is the clear guy. And they're going to build this offense through, in my opinion, the tight end and the running game and Luther Burden and Roma Dunze as solo receivers. Because like you look at what they have on the outside, like it's not a lot behind those two. So
Mhm.
I think that they're fully going in with the like believing that these two are going to be on the field a lot.
Yeah, especially the
And,
contingent upside is
yeah.
really through the roof. So
Yeah, he's got
because the
standalone plus contingent, and like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
like that's my only pushback on the Tonjas thing. Like I
No, I'd rather have
I
Komet than Tonjas for sure.
like I think that like all of those other people have possible like they could just win the role or contingent or they have standalone role with the other player on the field a little bit, and Tonjas really doesn't. But
Yeah.
I think that I think that if you want the league winning pick though, like Tonjas could do that.
Real quick, Quincy, that's Chigo Conquo. That's Chigo Conquo, not motherfucking old Greg.
Yeah, old
Uh,
Greg.
but Gamblestein still baffled by our Bowers ranking. It's because of the ADP.
It's because he's a second round pick.
Yeah, that's strictly the reason.
Like it,
Not that he won't smash. It's that what your roster looks like by taking that may not always smash.
yeah, it's based on ADP value, and like I like a lot of the picks of the set. Like it's hard to say Bowers is an absolute smash whenever the players that go around him are Drake, London, like even Derek, like in half point. This is half point PPR as well. Like Derrick Henry goes around him, like London, Nico, like AJ Brown. Sometimes you get like Omari Hampton to fall back there, or Kenneth Walker, or Chase Brown, like Achan. Like I'm not into Achan, but like Achan versus Bowers is a pretty compelling argument there because of the positional value, like the
Yeah, no,
scarcity.
there's a lot of different choices
Yeah,
that make so much sense there. That's
and
the
like
only.
I love Bowers. Like I prefer Bowers in most scenarios to a lot of players, but like I also really like those other players that go around him. And like that's probably the only reason Loveland isn't like number one overall for me. If Loveland was a fifth round pick, he would easily be the number one pick on the board without a doubt. Like when he was trending to go that way, and then like all the people like Matt Harmon and some other people started coming out and be like, no, he's going to be the focal point. And like I think people have kind of moved into that direction as well.
Yeah. Um, I think we're done, Hoohames.
Yeah, oh, just a cool 3.5 hours.
Yeah, pretty simple, pretty easy. Just knocking it out. No sweat.
Yeah. I mean, I assumed when you like we were talking about doing 40 of them, I was like, it's going to last way longer than he thinks.
No, once we added 40, it was like, no, this is going to be a marathon type of
Well,
thing.
you were like, let's just do all of them. I'm like, all right, all right, let's go.
Yeah,
Like if we're gonna have conversation alongside of it, it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
Now, if we wanted to just do like little nuggets, like we could have knocked it out in an hour, but it wouldn't have been as fun. Like wouldn't have been as much conversational. Like
Yeah.
So, chat, let us know. Other than likely, which one did you hate the most?
Yeah. What pick
like,
on this board is like egregious in your mind?
Yeah, everyone, like other than likely, because I know a lot of you like the likely pick. I just think that the likely pick, like, and we'll go over that again because a lot of people were asking, like, likely in both of our minds should be going around Hunter Henry, Chig, Brenton Strange, like in that range, and he goes 30 picks ahead. So, like, it's just a bad pick, whatever. Like, if he was going around those people, I would be at wait. Like, I think that he's got the chance to outperform his ADP where it's at. But that, like, I think that the other players have the same upside that he does, and they just go later.
Yeah, there's the values at this position, like we said multiple times, like they all feel wrong. They just all feel like they're mispriced and like weirdly allocated, but depending on the team, you feel a little bit more confident. But is there any like what about you, Hoohames? Is there any like player that ended up based off of the average where you're like, fine, but I don't like this?
No, I think that like most of the players I had in the lower tiers, like you semi agreed with.
Yeah.
And like, as I said, I think there's so many good values at tight end that like, I think you could literally like remove, like you could kind of converge like good and fair tier as
Mhm.
one,
Yeah.
move shaky up to fair, move bad up to shaky. Like I think that like half a bad. I think half a bad could get moved to shaky. Like I think down to like even Hawkinson, like you could take to like shaky because like there's reasons I really don't like the Otten pick, but like he's got value on some teams. So does Hawkinson. Like there are like that doesn't mean that I think it's a good pick, but there are teams and situations where it's a value, and like those players probably do just project for more points than the wide receivers and running backs that go around them. If you're just going off of total projected points, like that's fine. But like I'm trying to win these contests, and I don't think those picks win you these contests. And I think there are situations. I don't think there's many of them, but I think there are situations that like Dulcich could, you know.
It's possible. I mean that matchup against the Bills, maybe there's enough garbage time to really seal it, but you need to catch a break is what it is. Like
So cool.
it's not
Yeah.
just based off of talent and like typical game script that they're just going to be the focal point and deliver a top 10 performance like clockwork. It's like, no, this
Yeah.
week they just needed him and everything broke right and you just happen to have the right guy, but it was
Yeah.
more luck than strategy.
So Quincy, were you like which way do you think it should have went? Because one of us had him way higher than the other one. Just like Hunter Henry, one of us had Hunter Henry way higher. We were literally flipped on Hunter Henry and Brenton Strange.
Uh,
So
yeah,
which way do you think that he should have been way higher or way lower? Like on Strange.
for both of us, this is a pretty imperfect list, honestly. Like there, if you just saw my list versus Hoohames' list, there would have been some significant differences of
Well,
opinion.
I'm surprised we ended up like so based on knowing where you had Kraft yourself, like having him at number 2 overall feels very weighted towards my rankings.
I was surprised. I was very surprised that Kraft still maintained. So I'll read you the average score on all of these guys. And like some of them, it's a much more like we both are in line in this, and then sometimes it's like one of us was way off. But
Yeah.
in terms of average ranking, the ADP of our picks on this, Colston Loveland would be the 1.5. Tucker Kraft and Dallas Goedert would be tied at the 4.0. I gave you Kraft, but I wanted Goddard above him. Then Kincaid averages 5.5. Tyler Warren averages at 6. And then Kelsey and Kittle are both tied at 6.5. Bowers at 8.5. Brenton Strange at 9.5. You had him 6. I had him 13. Then Hunter Henry averages 10. Laporte at 10.5.
And you had him at 6, and I had him at 14. So we
were
were literally just
flipped.
We were flipped
straight up
X -1 or X +1 or whatever on Henry.
Yeah.
So like we did after the fact move Kelsey up. Like
mm-hmm.
And I think that I don't like I think that it's kind of the same, but I feel I don't know, like the Kelsey pick just feels so like of the safe picks on the board, it feels like he's for sure getting 750 yards and like 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And he's going to have a spike or two. And like some of the other picks that I really don't like later are the same style of bets that are just like weak versions of it.
Gotcha.
So
I think the only issue with Kelsey is that maybe a couple guys going later have a higher ceiling, but the floor is so locked in. It's such a safe pick.
Yeah, like he's the guy you get to take T-Ferg.
Yeah, that's a good pairing for sure. But Kraft solid, has to stay injury free all season. Are we?
So we were at Laporta. You were going through all of them.
Yeah, Laporta averaged 10.5. I am much higher than you. I had him at 5. You had him at 16. Chig, you were about 7 spots higher. You had him at
Yeah.
8. I had him at 15.
I
He was the next guy.
I think
Then
I'm probably
Juwan.
wrong on Chig. Like I think that Chig, like I put him higher than like I was like, I don't know if this is right or wrong because I have been moving him down my ranks. Originally, he was my number one overall, but that was when he's going to like 158.
With
So
Chig, I just think you need to update what the
yeah,
ADP is today versus
it's
when you loved him and he was 10
no.
picks later.
Well,
I think
I
that's the
I
only.
have moved him down.
Yeah.
I think he does need to be further down because I think him versus like Strange and Henry and them are pretty similar.
Yeah,
And
he
he
should
just goes
stay
later.
with them.
So like
That's my
with
pick.
moving likely down as much as we did, like I do think that Chig needed to move down more than what I had him. So I agree with that.
We didn't had Juwan and Dalton Schultz really nodded at 13 and a half. Kyle Pitts averaged 14 and a half on value. Then there was started to be some steeper falls where like one of us was really low and
Yeah.
usually we agreed. Where like then it dropped to Barner 17.5. Gunnar Helm and Gadsden were tied at 19. Then T-Ferg Andrews tied at 19 and a half. It gets very flat at this point,
And then
it's really not that
Ferguson
much
was probably Fryermuth was our biggest disagreement, right?
Yes. Fryermuth, I had at 17. You had at 32. You talked me down a little bit, but I still think he's a valid click. I don't think I'm going to stop, but I have so much I can afford to pump the brakes. And then in terms of like your highest player that I was low on, it was obviously Darnell Washington factored in, but also Kenyon Sadiq was a huge point of disagreement. I'm way lower. I'm also way lower on Theo Johnson than you are.
I mean, that's probably deserved.
Otherwise,
Like,
probably, you know. I had Tucker Kraft at 7. I had him at the top of good. You had him as the number 1 overall. So that one was
I mean, that's a big difference, really. So, like, back to the Sadiq thing, it's more of a team specific. If I'm going with like a late tight end build of any kind, Sadiq is like one of my targets.
Okay.
It doesn't mean I feel good about that. Like, I want one of him, Terrence Ferguson, maybe even like I just want one of those bigger upside swings down there. You know,
that's where I just lump in Fryermuth there, and I think Fryermuth's better than Sadiq. So,
I mean, if you believe he has the upside, I think that Fryermuth is way more locked into volume.
Volume. I think he just helps me get there. I think he just helps me win the pod. Like where a week where the tight ends I'm trusting just don't show up, I'll get a reliable 7.5, 8.5 out of Fryermuth, and then the occasional like 18 pointer, just once maybe, where like it does move the needle enough. But it's they're both growth. They're both.
I preface this whole thing with my rankings are very much tiered towards. I don't like these like this year specifically. I feel like tight end prices are good all the way, like most of the way down the board up until like a certain point. And I think that like at Schultz, it's like real bad. And I think that the top tight ends like could all outperform their ADP by multiple rounds. Like I think that like
Awesome.
I think we could get there and like if we're looking at like where we're drafting these guys next year, Loveland could be a second round pick. Goddard won't be because he's old. But like Tucker Kraft, like there are worlds where we're drafting him in round 4 or 5 next year. Kelsey, not because of age, but like Kincaid, we could be back in on round 7 on him. Tyler Warren could be a round 3 pick next year. You know, Kittle, like age, not gonna like be that different, but like
Laporta could move back up.
Laporta could move back up to like round 5. You know, like
Pitts
like
too. Kyle Pitts could fucking.
Strange could be around like 8, 7, 8, 9 pick next year. Like
that's high for me. I don't think I'd go that far. But
I
see
really
your point.
I really like what if like his ceiling outcome to me is like 800 yards and 10 touchdowns.
That I don't see.
Like I see that. I think that they could like instead of spread the ball out. Like I think that they could throw for 35 to 40 touchdowns.
and
And I
10 of
think
them
that,
go to Strange. That's
yeah,
hard for me to believe, but
I,
um, you know,
I'm saying ceiling outcome. Like
yeah,
this is like one guy gets hurt, Strange is the red zone guy, like, and the guy that gets hurt is either Myers or Parker Washington, and it doesn't seem that unlikely that that happens. Then they need to keep Hunter on defense because they have a bunch of cornerback injuries. So like it's just BTJ, Jacoby, and Strange is the only guy in the middle of the field. Like, and Trevor Lawrence is way better throwing the middle of the field than anywhere else. So like, and maybe in those situations, Trevor Lawrence gets a lot of rushing touchdowns. But like, I think that if one of those two players get hurt, I think Brenton Strange is an absolute smash in every season that happens.
you could be right, man.
No, I mean,
There's
I
plenty of
could definitely be wrong, but like, like all that's the thing. That's the beauty of this game. Like,
Mhm.
we have thoughts, we have ideas. Some of it, like, the goal is really to be like 60 to 65% right. Like, if you're 60 to 65% right in this, you feel real like you're way better than the average, right? Like, way, like if
Yeah.
I'm 60% right on what I said tonight, I'm happy with my performance. Maybe everybody else is upset at it, but like I would be happy with that.
No, I look at some of my rankings during the season and it's like,
Yeah.
oh wow, this week I had like a 73% accuracy. That's amazing.
Yeah. And then you look
Yeah.
at another week, it's like, oh, I had 34%. Like it could have been worse. It could have been.
Usually if it's
Yeah.
that bad, you just suffered a bunch of injuries. But
Yeah.
I think we had a good discussion, my friend. I
Yep.
think that was a very lively debate and a lot of
And
good
yeah.
points were made. But
And for everybody, like we probably won't go this long in the future, but
I
like
doubt it.
we were discussing like making this a non-draft show every week. I think that that's kind of like, what do you guys think? Do you guys think we should add drafts in at the end if we go shorter, or do you like? Do you think it would be better to just make this a? And if you're watching this after the fact, leave a comment and let us know, because like I think doing something that's not just drafting and more just talking ball or theory stuff. Like I think that's a direction I would like to go.
Well, now that we get to the
Yeah,
nitty gritty of August, like you need to know which picks you want and like who are
yeah,
your guys. So like instead of just like finding the best values, like at this point, I've done enough drafts where I know who I want, I know who I don't,
yeah,
and like the nuances of like is this pick actually valuable to me or not? I think is a little bit more valuable. So yeah, I think especially with how long we went, no chance we're doing a draft today, but
yeah.
the people do like it. I'll probably go live just for a draft after dinner, but obviously I got to take a break. But I had a blast, Hoohames. If
Yeah, I
anyone hasn't
took
subscribe down. We got the link down below, and
I took a
always
15-minute break in between and ate nothing, so I also got to eat.
okay. Well, I
Yeah,
won't keep
yeah.
you
You
any
missed
longer.
Theo Johnson, Julius. I'll go over it real quick. I'm 50% in for real, 50% in to troll the Isaiah Likely people. Like I honestly think that like it's the non-zero chance that like he could almost every year likely outscores Theo Johnson, but I do think there's a lot of years that it's a lot closer than people want it to be, and one of them is not drafted 100% of the time, and the other one is. So, like, give me the odds of the guy not drafted 100% of the time, and like I just think that like Jackson Dart threw to multiple tight ends last year, so I think it's a fine bet. If Theo Johnson was drafted 100% of the time, I don't think it would be a good bet.
No, the undrafted aspect
Yes.
of it is the fun part. Otherwise, it's like, nah. I don't want to go up against everyone else that has Theo Johnson too.
Yeah.
But yes, some folks like it. Some people say go shorter, add draft. I think for the sake of today, there's I think
Well,
we spoke
w-
on everything we should have talked about, and if you stuck with us this whole time, appreciate it. But I will go live later and just do at least one draft solo.
yeah. So Olave versus A full PPR. One question right before we leave.
Yeah, it's
You are very much on the Olave side.
Yeah, I'm full fading
I
Zay based on
I'm
this question. Yeah, full PPR especially.
I'm Zay, but like I have them. No, I'm a lot. Yeah, I'm a Lave. They're one spot. Like they're next to each other for me.
Oh, I thought for some reason I read this as Vele. I thought this was a sarcastic question.
No, Olave versus
Ola-
Zay.
yeah, I'm Olave just barely over Zay. In full PPR,
Yeah,
I think Zay gets a little bit of a bump, but I still think I prefer Olave just barely.
I I have Olave one spot ahead of Zay in full PPR
Okay.
as well. So
Yeah, it's so close, but I literally
I go
read that
back
as
and forth every week. Like I it's
I
how much do I
literally
want?
literally read that as Vele. I thought he was totally trolling.
No, no,
um,
no.
well,
But
all
yeah,
right. Well,
all right. Thanks for having me on.
yeah, appreciate it, man. Looking forward to next week, and maybe we won't go 3.5 hours, but we'll get close
Yeah,
to it.
yeah. Stay on for a second. By the
Okay.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no problem. All right, folks. Thanks for sticking with us. We'll see you guys later on Hoohames channel, on my channel, and all over the place. Peace out. Goodbye.